Hello, hey, howdy, hey, everybody, and welcome to another night of Upsurge Contenders League. My name is Culture, joined by Go for Eno. We're already into the champ select on the pro draft. Eno, how are you doing tonight, man? Tell me, what are you looking forward to in this matchup between Frontside and Stevenson? As we had a recent patch just today. I mean, there's a lot of pretty good changes in here.
Yeah, sadly, Mordekaiser is not available to play yet since he just released basically literally today and he needs a week. But Frontside, they've already locked in the Silas, which is very interesting. He got some hefty nerfs this patch, especially to his wave clear on the passive. And they also changed the shield on the Abduct. It only gives you the shield now if you hit an enemy champion or monster, not if you just throw it out, which is kind of a pretty huge deal. You don't just get that free shield anymore.
Interesting for sure, especially because, I mean, the shield definitely got a bit of a, like you say, it was reworked, if you want to say. It got a buff in the fact that it's a bigger shield, but you have to hit somebody. Wave clear pretty much obsolete at this point. They did give a little bit more damage to his Q, but that's only damage against champions. And I wonder if they're picking this just because it's still a good champion as far as single target damage, basically blowing people up, not so much wave clear, and where they're going to take this. Because I mean, Silas top could still be a thing as we're starting to see the first draft phase being rounded out. Rek'Sai and Aatrox picked up for front side, and then Stevenson trying to finish out theirs. Looks like they will pick up the Zac, who also got his own bit of a buff. I believe the damage on his ultimate was increased. It was one of his abilities was increased. So they pick up that along with the Sivir and Lux as we continue the bans. They're going to start their first side of the second ban phase with the Yuumi being taken away and Aurelia for front side.
Yeah, Yumi has just been such a dominant pick in pro play this patch now that people have been figuring her out more and more. Because she does have the double-sided learning curve where you have to learn how to play her, but your teammates also have to learn how to play with her, which is rather hard. But now that pro players and high elo players have found out how to use her, turns out Yumi is rather strong. Even with the nerfs she just got, she will most likely still be fairly strong. And a couple of other strong picks taken away too. You mentioned the Irelia, but there's also the Ezreal, who's been fairly good. And the Jace has certainly dropped off since the nerfs, but still pickable, I would say.
I'm surprised that a lot of these picks made it even that deep into the ban phase. We're used to seeing, especially at the pro levels of play, and just below that, the Aurelia, the Jace taken away first round, doesn't usually get even to that second round of bans if left open. The Akali picked up for Stevenson, though, will kind of apply some pressure back toward that Silas. Akali, one of the more even matchups, I would say, into a Silas, especially now. But now that he's had those adjustments and nerves, I think that it may be more of a favorable matchup for her. The Karma locked in for front side. She also had her own round of buffs. The cooldown on her shield was lowered, as well as the slow from her Q was increased as well. And they're going to round their composition out with a Zaya. I want to know what Stevenson rounds this out with. We've gone pretty fast with this pick and ban phase.
Yeah, pretty fast indeed. Not a lot of time to talk about the picks. And it'll be the Orianna here, so looks like it is going to be a top lane to call with that mid lane Orianna for Stevenson. Don't know where people are going here for the side of Frontside quite just yet. We'll have to see. But interestingly enough, going back to the Karma, the biggest thing she got this patch was the buff to the move speed duration on her Mantra E, because now it matches the duration of the shield, and it's a full extra second of that huge move speed boost, which is very, very powerful for initiations, especially if you look at Frontside's lineup. Having that extra movement speed on the Aatrox, Silas, and Rek'Sai against the backline is very powerful.
Already we were seeing a ton of Karma being played in the LPL because of just that versatility of her kit and the fact that she can build and do a ton of damage early and set up for a lot of early pressure. Now, I'm interested, where do you think that the Silas and Aatrox are going to go in this matchup? Because we have been seeing Aatrox mid to answer. I think it would be fine going into the Akali, but it just depends on if they want to go standard, if they want to mix things up and try and put Stevenson on the back foot.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because there is a lot of flexibility for the Aatrox and the Silas in terms of lane assignments. That is part of the reason why they've been so strong. the ability to flex them between top and mid, sometimes even jungle, but that's a bit more of a rarity and mostly just limited to the Aatrox. But even that was a few patches ago.
Yeah. And for the side of Stevenson, they have, I wouldn't say flexibility. We have seen again in the LPL the Oriana being taken to the ADC, but that was one game, and so who knows how much viability that does have. But the Zac is something we haven't seen in a long time. That engaged potential from almost any angle, front side. Do you think they have the tools to deal with this Zac, especially since it's kind of out of pocket? Even with the buffs he did get, I didn't think that they were big enough buffs for to see him return to play, and already we're seeing him in this first game of UCL.
Yeah, maybe the buffs were much more than we expected because 10 damage on the W is kind of deceptive because, yeah, it's just 10 damage, but it is the spell Zac spams the most in the jungle, and that will help him out a good amount with his clear and making Let's Bounce that much more, Lord, what's the word I'm looking for? Dependable when you use it in terms of picking up lobs. That also helps a ton too in terms of team fight sustain. So maybe Axe Olotl has a bit of pocket pick here that we don't know about. Maybe it is a new patch OP. We will have to see going into this game, especially against the Rek'Sai too, because Rek'Sai shouldn't have too hard of a time going on into Zac's jungle early on and bullying him out a little.
I feel that just for the sake not only of these two teams and how they play, but just of the meta right now, it's really heavily focused toward that top side 3v3. So if Almost really wants to shut down Stevenson, he's gonna have to start with Axolotl and on this Zac and just try and use that aggression that Rek'Sai can put out on the map and that early pressure. Now, I want to see we have some time before positions are locked in because someone's gonna have to play into this top side of Akali. It will be Oriana mid, Akali top. So I'm interested to see if they'll swap this out. I wouldn't if I were them, but do you think Silas can even hold up to Oriana after these recent changes to his kit?
It is gonna be much harder because now laning phase isn't free as Silas since you have much less wave clear, but also less dependable shield that impacts you very, very greatly. And I wonder if we're still gonna see the aftershock on the Mad Show here, because aftershock it did get nerfed, and also Silas, the shield being less reliable, I believe that also hurts the aftershock too. We could see a potential electrocute here coming out of the Mad Show if he really wants to try and go for these all-ins, especially with that ignite. But
We have. Oh.
oh, swap to teleport. Good old spectator bug. Oh well.
So trying to get a little bit more map pressure with a double teleport composition and something we have. I mean, we have seen the electrocute. We've also seen the comet. If you want to, stay into more of a poke lane, he does have more damage on his Q now, so he can just try and poke from a distance and set up the Oriana for a gank from Almost. But something I want to draw our attention to as we enter the spectator lane is toward this bottom side. I know earlier I said that it's really a lot about the 3v3 on the top side of the map now, but looking at this matchup, the Karma coming through with desire for Elo Daddy and Annie. This Lux from Matt Cool 10, we've seen this pop up a lot everywhere. The Lux support and just her strength. Where do you think that strength comes from, and how does it synergize with the Sivir going into this lane matchup?
So I'm not entirely familiar with Lex support yet, since it is still kind of recent as of last patch. But both the Boomerang Blade and the Lucent Singularity coming out from Matt Cool and Acrylics, it is certainly good poke. And I believe Lux supports typically go with Thenes, so all that damage you can convert into some healing. And you do have potential with the Q. But like I said, I'm not too familiar with this because I'm a bit more used to Lux support of the previous 8 seasons, where it's kind of more of a troll pick, really, for the mid laners who got autofilled support.
We'll definitely have to see how if he can make it more than just a troll pick, if he can make it something that's better. But we're gonna go into a quick intermission before we get into the game. Before we go, though, I gotta ask you: are you looking to take your game to the next level? Is that what you want? Do you want to stay
I
a pleb, or do you
always
want to get
am.
the best? All right. Well, you know what? It all starts, my man, with your peripherals. From the keyboard to keycaps, mice and more. Our friends at Kono they have you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono has been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. And if you ever need a new keyboard or more for your setup, we can't recommend anyone better than Kono. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono. Discover amazing products. We'll be right back with game one of Frontside versus Stevenson after this break. Hey, howdy, hey everybody, welcome back. We're here, we're in game one. We made it, we all made it here. You know, I'm happy we all graduated from Champ Select into the game where some people can't even say that their internet's just so bad they can't even graduate past that. They get held back. But we're 27 seconds in. We're about to start with the 5-point start as usual. And something that we were talking about while we were on break, you know, is the fact that Krelleron took Ignite Orianna, and on top of that, took Phase Rush. And that's something that we don't usually see either out of the Summoner or the Mastery.
Yeah, a very aggressive setup here from Krelleron. We'll see if it pays off, because Orianna can be camped fairly easily if her flash is down. Not to mention, usually you just want to scale on the Orianna. That's why you'll see stuff like Barrier Cleanse or even Teleport. But into the Mad Shows, Silas, we'll have to see how it works out here. If he's able to get those early all-ins down. Because he does have the potential to snowball in with Ignite, as usual. That's what Ignite helps you do. But not having the utility summoner spell in mid to late game teamfights for survivability, it can end up negatively impacting Krelleron.
And if Orianna can get that lead, she's definitely one of the scariest mid lane mages when she has a lead. Just not only because of her sheer damage, but because of her team fight potential and the setup she could have for the rest of her squad. And we'll have to see how that works out if Almost can take advantage of seeing that, hey, she doesn't have any sort of safety. We can get her flash down. We can set this lane up for the Mad Show to take over. Because again, just because he had his wave clear taken down a notch doesn't mean that he's no less of a threat in the mid lane in the 1v1. And it's just a bold strategy from Krelleron. We'll have to see how it works out. And seeing some early trades happen across the map. On the top side, we have Black Dog versus Bull. So on this Aatrox, a college matchup, Black Dog already getting the best of that one. both junglers, Raptors being started here for almost, and it looks like the Zach will head straight toward his red buff after doing full. So he'll have a top side gank potentially first, but no, he goes toward his Raptors instead of heading straight to that buff.
Yep, both junglers just opting for a really big player here. No surprises for Axelot, since he just kind of wants to farm up, get a few points, and they'll actually gank in the mid lane.
And we said that they could try and take advantage of it, and they have. Krilleron trying to find a way out, but the damage is too great. Didn't even use his flash, knew that he was gone to right, so he gives a first blood. I agree with that decision. Not use my flash, I know I'm dead, just go ahead and deal with it. But now that's going to be the Rek'Sai having the early kill goal. Now he's going to head top for another instant gank. He is not wasting any time, but he just throws out the Prey Seeker and then backs on off, possibly trying to release some pressure for both.
Definitely need a little bit of pressure relief in the top lane, since Volta did mess up his Darkened Blade on a few trades, which is unfortunate and led to him taking a decent chunk. Not to mention the passive cooldown nerf for Aatrox early on is pretty substantial in terms of taking down his speed.
See a little bit of what looked like maybe early trading, but good fancy feet from the side of Frontside, and they get out of most of that damage. But you're right, this Aatrox still very strong, but I think they're trying to put him in a position where he can be taken advantage of, because let's admit it, unless you are just not very good at Aatrox, haven't played him a lot, he's pretty much strong on anyone that has put enough time into the champion, despite having his ultimate rework to only activate and give him the resurrection on a killer assist. He still has those lane stats to make him so dangerous. He's at level 4, and now let's see if he decides to go for an all-in. Doesn't have an ignite, obviously, but he still has enough damage to get the job done as the match show. Already trying to take advantage of the lane lead he has and put pressure down. Black Dog has the smoke, he has the passive auto attack as well. He can try and look for this if he wants to. He'll go back in, try to get the damage up, but no, Volta turns around with damage of his own, and it looks like he should be able to pick up this kill with one more auto attack. He's still running after the Zac is here though to try and follow up. He can try and find one more slingshot to pull him back in, but no, he'll just go for the auto attacks instead, not setting up his own top laner, and finds the trade 1-for-1. So Volta being caught by surprise. I feel like, was he not in range to get that last auto attack to get that kill?
It was so close. It's just, it's an unfortunate circumstance, to say the least. But assist goal going over to Black Dog is very beneficial, because he's already winning out on the trades for the most part in top lane, and giving him that extra bit of gold lead will help him immensely with that. It especially helps that Akali is also a champion that snowballs fairly good, thanks to the fact that she is an assassin, and assassins tend to snowball very strongly.
Yes, they tend to make your life a living hell, and on that one assist, he does have the Vampiric Scepter working toward that Gunblade. For Volta, all he has is the Ruby Crystal to try and give him that extra health, but I mean, besides that in the longsword, he doesn't have much to try and answer back to Black Dog, and you already see the Akali trying to punish him for that, getting him almost to have health off the electrocuting rotation alone, and things already not looking too bright for Frontside. They get that early first blood, but we said before the game that you have to win the top side 3v3 if you want to have success in the game. And I think this Aatrox versus the Akali matchup is more important than Krilleron versus Macho, but a great flash from Macho dodges the ultimate, and the Orion's going to fall again to almost, so a Shockwave miss turns into a kill opportunity for Frontside. Let's see if they turn this into an Infernal Drake, which has been the first Drake to spawn in this game as we cross the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, an Infernal Dragon would certainly help with winning the top 3v3, and Krilleron, the choice of Ignite and Phase Rush here doesn't seem to be working out too well for him, as there's now 2 ganks that he has unfortunately died to.
Yeah, and we said it was a bold strategy, and now he's paying the price. But the great thing about Orianna is you can, as long as he doesn't get any further behind, you can always use his Shockwave onto Axolotl, you know, set up Black Dog, Acrylics can get set up for great Boomerang Blade and for the Bouncing Blades as well, sets up Mat Pool. So really Orianna always has that utility. Macho has stolen her ultimate just by the by, and interesting enough because I never really like it when Silas steals the Orianna ulti, just because unless you're super far ahead and you just have enough sustain to live, And I know he just got a buff on his shield, but
Dang.
that dodge. Annie and Elo Daddy, they could be in trouble. The slingshot brings them back in. With the arms, they should be able to get out because of the feathers and the slow from the Q. So not too much of a threat. He only lost his flash.
Yeah, it does cost the flash out of Annie there, and that is gonna hurt. Ooh, all in the top lane, however.
Constant actions, Volt just using that ultimate for the extra movement speed. Something I've heard from a lot of people is basically now the Aatrox ulti, unless you're ahead and in the middle of a fight that you know you can get resurrected from, because you already got the kill or assist, you really just use it to run away. So I don't know, he might have been using it to get aggressive because of that extra movement speed, but with the way that trade went down, it looks like he might have just been trying to get away. And it looks like already almost making a play for this Infernal Drake, and there's really not much that the side of Stevenson can do about it.
Yeah, no wards on it. Bot lane back for them, so that is going to be a free Infernal, which is very nice here. Especially when you consider everybody's going to be building damaging stats on the side of Frontside here. So they will appreciate that very much so.
If you're Frontside, you know, what does, more specifically, if you're almost, what do you do next to kind of push this lead even further, push it to the maximum and over the edge? Because it seems like early on in the game, it's all their kills have come through him. He has both their kills on the team, 150 gold bounty. Where does he go to next to try and push this? Does he go and try to help Volt in the top lane? Does he keep pushing Mad Show ahead in the mid? Does he pay attention to this bot lane that's been doing fairly well, but might need a little bit of help because they're down 10 CS?
Thing is, bot lane is really ungankable from the side of Steven here, since Matt Cool and Acrylics are very safe. They both have their range. There's the light binding, there's also the spell shield. Acrylics in danger though.
Does use the ultimate, so the on hunt is gone. He does get rooted, but it won't be a kill. Now Axolotl tries to find the jump in onto Macho. Possibly lets bounce as well, but really that seems to be just defensive because Macho is running this. He uses his stolen ultimate, but the shockwave doesn't find anyone. However, his job is done. He got an ultimate, maybe two. Yeah, he got both their ultimates. For them just to have to run away, so that's going to be great for them coming up with Rift Herald spawning and with the potential to push leads in other lanes and get further and further ahead as they're at a 1,000 gold lead at about the 10-minute mark. And he comes back in again, but he can't land the first arm. Can he land any more? Nope. The Ignite onto him makes him back away. Even though the light binding is there from Matt Cool, it won't have any consequence. He has the ultimate, but he isn't. I don't think he's confident to try and throw it out and find a kill on the back of it.
Yeah, it would be risky. There is still the Feather Storm for Elo Daddy, so technically speaking, it would be a longer cooldown, so it would be somewhat worth in terms of cooldowns, but I don't want to risk it. Top lane, huge trade in the favor of Volta there off the back of getting, I believe, all three of the Qs off.
He now has that Phage. He has the Phage, so he's still not caught up in items, but as an Aatrox, that's plenty to do that much damage and make sure that Black Dog is on watch to say, hey, you can't just 1v1 me anymore. And now that may draw Axolotl back into this top lane. It looks like almost in the bottom side trying to set up a gank, but Annie did get rooted into the Boomerang Blade, so he took too much damage and couldn't follow through. Now he's going to start rotating up toward this mid lane, and it looks like Krelleron has pinged him out. They know he's on his way here. They see him, but the smite into the knockup doesn't get the full knockup though, so won't be able to find a kill on the back of it. He's 1v1, by the way. Krelleron, though, wasn't able to land the extra damage on the back end and set himself up for possibly a kill. Axolotl here finds one stretching strike, bounces Elo Daddy back to the light binding. This should surely be a kill, even with the Feather Storm, and now they want to find Annie. They get the Let's Bounce. He's set up. It's going to be a double kill here for Acrylics. And in the top lane, Volta trying to 1v1 Black Dog. He will find it on this Aatrox. That's why you ban him out, because it doesn't matter how far your lead is, you're gonna fall. Now Mad Show has stolen Krelleron's ultimate, finds the chains. It doesn't even have to use it because he finds the kill, and now he can push the mid lane. So all across the board, action going down. It looks like, though, it's in the favor of Frontside Esports. Decides the proactivity from Stevenson.
Yeah, a 2-for-2 in the end for both sides here, but Volta able to get some plating off of that, not to mention extend his farm lead. But bot lane for Stevens here. That 2 kills picked up by Acrylic is absolutely massive. He now has a full Infinity Edge coming back to lane alongside the natural 25 CS and 2 kill lead. And that's going to hurt even more for Elo, Daddy, and Annie in this matchup, which they were already having a bit of a tricky time into. Good news is their top side is winning here and almost is getting them a Rift Herald.
And internationally, and I'm going to throw out some culture stats here. Internationally, Xayah has one of the lowest win rates of AD carries, and in my opinion, it's because of the fact that she doesn't have a Recon there for that extra boost of passive stats and the things she can do. She gets behind, it's so hard for her to come back, especially against Sivir. So I gotta hold that thought. A Shockwave comes from Macho, but a Shockwave to answer back. Didn't know that Oxlord was in that bush. Now he just wants to try and complete this kill if he can. A flash out from Orianna, but ill-fated and ill-timed almost falls through. And they got the Zac pass up at the bottom lane of Stevenson falls through. And they find a kill. Matt Cool picking that up with the ultimate. So a great collapse from Stevenson means it will just be a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane, and with Ocean Drake up, they can try and look to contest, as it's only the bottom lane from Frontside and the jungler here to try and stop them. No teleport on Black Dog.
Yeah, and an Ocean Dragon here for Stevenson would be so beneficial with the Orianna, Sivir, and Lux. All of them, they can power clear through waves, but it usually comes at the cost of mana. But hey, once you have that Ocean Dragon, especially the first one where it's 6% of your missing mana regenerated every 5 seconds, you can basically spam forever and just clear every single wave that ever approaches you, which is very strong. But it looks like Stevenson not exactly pulling the trigger on that yet, since it was a 1-for-1 in the mid lane, and Exotel did lose his passive, which is kind of a big deal for teamfights.
I'm still surprised though, seeing as if you match dual lane for dual lane right now, the double kill for the Sivir gave her that Infinity Edge. So she has the item lead on Elo Daddy. Maybe they could have taken that 3v3, but again, you know, better safe than sorry. This is the 2C, the second place team versus the 7th place team, Frontside being the 2nd and Stevenson being the 7th. So I understand their caution, don't want to give anything away. They're trying to play to not only get their first win, but also go for the upset and show that they have a spark, that they are working towards success. As Black Dog takes more damage, Volta maybe looking for the train, but can't find it. So therefore, Black Dog will be able to escape, but that chain lands, he dies. He has to be more careful in this lane. He can't afford to go down because that means Volta has priority to roam down with a neutral objective. Maybe he can even get that turret for first turret blood.
Yeah, and not having Gunblade yet on Black Dog really hurts him here, especially since Volta already has the Black Cleaver completed. It means he can't just turbo sustain through any trade he takes. Has to rely on just the lifesteal. Ooh, Freya Force.
It's set up, he does have the shield, but a shockwave from Macho brings him right back in. Krillon does have his own, but he doesn't survive long enough to use his Macho to clean that one up. They've started the Ocean Drake. There's not much of a response from Stevenson. Zac is in the area, but I don't think Oxalota will try and go in. He's just gonna bounce over toward his Wolf camp. They threw out the final spark for the steal, but it wasn't timed well enough. Now Black Dog is in trouble. He has to make sure that he doesn't fall down. He even used the flash out of safety. Now the duo of Almost and Macho want to try and take this first brick, but they won't because Oxalota answers right back. 6-4, passing 16 minutes, a 2,000 gold lead. Frontside Esports doing it again as they've done all season so far.
Yeah, and 5 of those 6 kills have been onto Krelleron, who just isn't having a good time. Black Dog 9 in trouble.
Oh, great Prey Seeker. The smoke will save him, but for how long? Use the ultimate, but he was getting collapsed on by a Macho the entire time. He got debated, so now even when he respawns, he doesn't have that ultimate back up for a possible team fight. And now they're going to take down this turret with the Aatrox. They're going to look to drop Shelly as well, but gets staggered out on the cannon minion. It should buy a little bit of time as the Let's Bounce is stolen by Macho, but that's first brick, and now looks like at least 2 members of Frontside, nope, make that 3 almost rotates back, are going to stick around to make sure Shelly is escorted into this tier 2 top lane tower.
That is pretty good value off the back of the Rift Charge to get. He charges off in 1 tower with it. That is a lot of damage. Silver lining for Stevens, though, is that we did get the first tower on the bottom panel. to extend the bot lane lead here. Now almost 2,000 gold separates the 80 carries in this matchup, and a further almost 900 separates the 2 supports. So the bot lane for Stevens are really going to have to pull their weight in this game to help them come back from this.
Because the top lane, you have a 1,000 plus gold advantage in favor of Frontside. The jungle, we already knew, that's 2,000 gold in favor of Almost. In the mid lane as well, same gold difference. So it is all on Acrylics and Matt Cool to try and keep this one within reach. Either that or a great team fight set up by Oxalotl and Krelleron, because otherwise this game is starting to slip. And Frontside showing why they are 3-0, 6-1 overall in map count in this lead, because they just been out-rotating Stevenson early in this game, not just for kills, but you saw on that top side, out-rotated with a Rift Herald, got a turret and some damage. They've caught the rotation from Stevenson trying to answer back in the mid lane. They did get a turret in the bottom lane, Stevenson did, but now Oxalotl's about to fall. Another ultimate comes through, and it pops the passive from the Zac, but it should be an easy kill. And Acrylics may just fall, has used the flash and the on the hunt because he tried to save his jungler's life, but now he sacrificed more than he wanted to and didn't even make sure Oxalotl could come back from the passive.
Yeah, because Acrylics is the MVP right now for Stevenson. His flash being down makes life all the easier for Frontside here when it comes to team fights, because all they want to do is dogpile Acrylics. He has the advantage on Stevens here. Just kill the advantage.
The surprising thing about all this is that Frontside has the advantage, but all the vision control is in favor of Stevenson, which just shows that Frontside's like, we don't care if you have control of your jungle. We don't care if you can see us making moves. We're just going to brute force it and dare you to challenge us, dare you to say, hey, fight us full on 5v5, because our Silas is stronger, our Aatrox is stronger, our bottom lane isn't so far behind that they're obsolete. So in essence, it's not even a 5v4 because Elo Daddy's behind. They're now starting to clear some of that vision, but Stevenson, for the way they have control, quote unquote, of the map in the most base terms in League of Legends, they do not have any control on this game, even with being behind.
Yeah, which is very interesting because vision control is just so important in this game, and if you're ahead like this in terms of tempo and gold, you need to be extending your vision lead and denying any enemy vision you can, but when you don't do it, that leaves a lot of dark spots on the map, and what can be a 90-10% chance sort of deal might turn into a 75-25% sort of deal, because you didn't know there was an extra member there. So hopefully for the side of Frontside here, they are able to pick up on that vision game. We have another Ocean Dragon spawning here in about 20 seconds.
Stevenson knows it's been pinged out, and now they're gonna start rotating toward it. They have to be careful because all Frontside wants to do at this point is just fight around neutral objective, and they have 2 of them. Luckily for Stevenson, no Mountain Drakes were taken. Otherwise, they might have been posturing for Baron if you're Frontside, and just go ahead and try and burn that down. Elo Daddy is getting vision around that one. They have taken the Scuttle Crab. So crossing that 20-minute mark, about to cross the 21-minute mark. It's only about 4,000 gold in favor of Frontside, and while it's significant early, it might not be the end-all be-all. Volt does have to go from here in the bottom lane to try and buy some time. He didn't know that Oxalotl was here to try and follow through with Black Dog, and he will be able to save his top laner's life, but they sacrifice the turret because Silas is slowly pushing by himself on the top side of the map. They want to take this Ocean Drake to respond, but it's already being pinged out. They know that Frontside knows. They finish it. Frontside says, we'll just go ahead and let you have that one, because we're just going to start taking your base. Akali is there to answer the Silas.
Yeah, luckily enough, we'll get back in time. But that bot lane 2v1 was a very worrying sign here for Stevens. Axolotl and Black Dog 9, neither of them were able to fully double team out Volta there. Calling for the ultimate of him, and when you already use the Akali ultimate, not the most worthwhile trade. If you're committing 2 people to that bot lane, you want to be getting that kill on either top lane, or just relieving a little bit of pressure. So Krelleron.
He almost gets caught out again. This would have been the 6th time if he had actually fallen there in the jungle, but they got the flash out, which means no flash ball movement engages from Krelleron. They'll have to depend solely on Oxalotl or poor positioning from Frontside to set up a shockwave. You speak on this Aatrox, Volta absorbing so much pressure by himself, both their solo laners, but him especially. Already has the Black Cleaver working toward that Death Dance. His counterpart only has the Gunblade and 2 cloth armor, so nowhere near Volta. And even being able to answer the mid lane, it's a different story. I mean, at least this Orianna is only an item behind and working toward Azonia's, so just trying to get some survivability. But if you're looking for a sword supposed to be your damage and kill threat, it's the Akali the entire game, and she is severely lacking right now. And it's just a credit to Volta because he really didn't have a ton of help in this top lane. He did it all by himself.
Yeah, because keep in mind, early on, Black Dog was the one having the favorable trades in the top lane, but as the lane went on and on and on, Volta kept coming out more and more on top, and now we've reached this pinnacle point. Once he gets that Death Stance, he's going to be so hard to kill from all that extra healing, but not to mention the damage reduction. Well, damage delay, I should say. It doesn't reduce damage.
Right, but the principle still stands that he has a ton of survivability, and into his kit, not just, I mean, it's both. It's because his kit, and also just because Volta's been playing extremely well. As next Dragon Up will be that mountain, but it won't be spawning for a good minute, so there's a bit of downtime. If you're Stevenson, you're blessed because that means that all they have to do is try and take Baron. That's really, really hard to take even this early with the lead they do have. It's very risky. And instead, Frontside is going to continue to let Volta push and fight Black Dog, getting down so much damage. He baits him back into the chain and gets pulled in. But the Akali does have enough maneuverability, and really Volta doesn't have the rest of his combo ready to capitalize off of that chain. And ward's being cleared. We'll see if they decide to start it up soon. Instead, they're going to back away once more. And if you're Stevenson, you're really, really glad for this bit of stall out. You know, Black Dog gets a chance to catch up, working toward his own zonies, it looks like. And everyone just gets to start building toward more itemization, especially the Sivir, who you need more time for her to get to her 3-4 item spike and really start taking over these team fights and keeping you in this game for as long as possible.
Yeah, and thankfully the longer this game goes on, Stevenson will really enjoy that. As mentioned, the Sivir scales very well here for Acrylic, but also Krelleron, he scales immensely well on this Orianna, just thanks to all the team fight utility you can put out and the damage between command attack and the shockwave. So, a small timer being put on Frontside Esports here. It's not a huge timer because they have decent scaling themselves. It's just hard to kind of compete with Sivir Orianna in terms of scaling.
And you see they're trying to start this Baron. They want to do it, but I think the main reason they are hesitant is because Black Dog still has a teleport. There is no teleport advantage in between the top laners. So therefore, it could turn into a 5v5 very quickly. And Akali, even as far behind as she is, can still try and look for Elo Daddy and take out one target at the very least before dying. So a very good job our front side, not getting too cocky, not getting over aggressive and trying to just belligerently start an objective. They're taking their time, waiting for maybe the Aatrox to solo out Black Dog and kill him, or at least force him to teleport somewhere else. I want to know, where do you think, how do they bait out that teleport? Because if Stevenson is just going to continue to be non-combative, it's going to be really, really hard for them to take that Baron. Looks like they're going to have to end up settling for this Mountain Drake instead.
Yeah, but I wouldn't really call it settling for it because Mountain Dragon will make Baron taking so much scarier. And if you're able to take it that much quicker, that gives you that much less time to Stevenson to respond. And honestly, this is perfectly fine here for Frontside. They're more than happy to take this. That gives them the threat they want on that Baron. They can start looking to it. As Stevenson, they're just going to be clearing out vision right now using that little bit of breathing room. Keep in mind that the Macho did steal on the hunt.
And looks like he does pop it to try and catch up, but may have been a bit wasted. Too much movement speed between Krelleron giving Matt Cool the ball and Zach being able just to slingshot out. They didn't force out any ultimates, didn't take away any summoners. So, but it's Macho, it's Silas. That ultimate isn't on that long of a cooldown, so he can always steal another one and look for another team fight. Looks like they're going to go ahead and take that wave advantage and push the mid lane while 3 members of Stevenson are in their red side jungle trying to prevent Silas from getting any more advantages. And now they're just late to another rotation.
Yep, that is a huge chunk taken off that mid lane tower, as it is now down to about a third. Bot lane, there was a very huge push done by Dogs, and he almost got that into the tower, but had to back off just in case something broke out in the mid lane and help out his homies there. It does look like the wave should bounce back to him eventually, and he'll be able to pick up a bunch of farm when that happens. But that is a few minutes out, I want to say.
Macho moves up to that top lane to push that top side wave out, but as you said, great job by Black Dog pushing that wave, because the bottom side of the map is where they want the push to happen if you're front side, because it sets up a Baron if they send multiple members to answer Volta, which they have to if they really want to try and commit to a kill. But looking at the game state, passing the 28-minute mark, 5,000 goal lead, holding steady for front side. They have the Drake advantage as well. One Ocean in favor of Stevenson. Looking at items though, Stevenson, you have to commend them staying in this game due to their vision control. This Sivir is now at 3 items, has that rapid fire cannon, and they maybe potentially could start looking for some sort of reactive team fight to get back into this game, because they call it has her zonias as well, so she can at least survive long enough to kill one target. Maybe they can do it if they can find the right team fight, and that's all that matters. The question is, will Frontside give them that opportunity?
And Baron start actually from Frontside here, just dropping fairly quickly, but Stevenson, they are in the area to put down visions and let him Axolotl. He's going to be the man to steal it here.
And they don't. Axolotl tries to jump in, but to no avail. And on the hunt is popping for Phil, so they killing spree, but what can Volta do? Does he have the passive? He doesn't. A double kill and a shutdown in favor of Stevenson. So they do exactly what they needed to. They get 3 kills early. 2 members of Frontside left with Baron. Make that proxy one as Krellon is searching for Macho, but he's going to let him recall because he knows that Macho can delete him in a 1v1 scenario. However, Stevenson can now push this mid lane, get possibly 2 towers, and try and work their way back into this. It's a 4,000 goal lead, but they have the potential for a negative Baron power play in favor of Stevenson if they execute this push clean.
Yeah, and Stevenson just punishing the over-eagerness out of Frontside so hard there. The magic versus debuff from Baron combined into the shockwave from Krellon and Matt Cool 10's final spark. That was so much extra damage, and by the time we saw Volta teleport into that fight, it was already kind of over with his backline dying, and after that it was just easy pickings. 3 Baron buffs down will severely hamper the Baron push. Frontside is at least able to get that inner that they got very low earlier, but that's silver linings at this point.
Silas taking that by himself like he can, but I particularly enjoy Acrylic's positioning in that fight, because most AD carries, when they see that Aatrox come in, they're like, okay, I got my 1 kill, I'm gonna dip, I'm gone. Instead, he continues to just push forward in the team fight and put himself in a position to not only get a double kill, but to stay out of Volta's range of influence. And that really, I think that's what really sealed the deal. Matt Cool did put out a good bit of damage with that final spark, but if Acrylic goes down too early in that fight due to timid positioning, then maybe that turns into a 2 or 3 for 1, a 2 for 2, and it evens out. So we'll have to see how that affects the rest of the game. As a shockwave that was stolen by Macho is used to kill Black Dog. I think Black Dog just forgot whose ultimate he had, and forgot that this is a Silas that has a Rabadon's Death Cap, the Luden's Echo, and all the damage in the world to kill you, because you're 0-3 and 3. You're super far behind and have no real damage yourself. So it's going to be a 4v5 across the map. Now multiple members have to answer Macho. That's going to influence a push on the bottom half of the map. And now he has the final spark, uses his onions, but see how he decides to dodge out of this next. He does get the chain, the flash, but it's not enough to escape the shutdown from Matt Cool. And actually, Frontside decided not to push for that bottom side tier 2. They went for the dragon and took that instead. So, you know, do you think that's a positive trade for Stevenson, or do you think that if you're Frontside, you're like, okay, we're fine with that, with Macho giving his life for that dragon?
So technically, it is a good future investment here from Frontside, Because now with 2 Earth Dragons, they can absolutely shred through the Baron. But we saw what happened last time at Baron, so they have to be smart about Baron calls because Baron will make or break the game on whether or not you get it. And I mean, I guess, because the shutdown did go over to Matt Cool, which isn't the worst. He isn't building full AP Lux here. He's mixing in a good amount of utility with the AP, so it's not like he's going to be popping people super hard, especially with the Aftershock. But still, giving up that huge shutdown, not the most favorable thing. So we'll have to see how it works out, because the Earth Dragon, great if you're able to get onto those objectives, but if you can't control those objectives, or your objective control is poop, it doesn't usually work out.
Definitely would have been more influential, I agree, if Maku was going for something like Luden's Echo, you know, pure burst. Instead, he did go for that Ardent Sensor into the Athenes, so more utility for sure. And I think that Stevenson has to be careful themselves, because while they do scale well, Elo Daddy, he's a name we haven't mentioned a lot. We're starting to hit item breakpoints, and the Xayah with Double Mountain Drake, Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, Rapid Fire Cannon, she may not be able to out damage a Sivir in a team fight right now, because it's just Sivir is amazing at scaling and ridiculous, and he already has 5 items, 6 if you count boots. But when it comes to burning objectives like Baron, I think this Xayah can finally start pulling her own weight and really contributing, even to the DPS factor in a team fight if he lives long enough.
And importantly, Axolotl didn't go for the randomness here, so that isn't going to reduce the crit damage here. To be fair, Thornmail is still very good, especially when you consider you have to reduce the healing of a Rek'Sai with Conqueror, Aatrox with Conqueror, the Mad Show, and Elo Daddy, he might have taken lifesteal and runes if he went for a legend lifesteal. Not entirely sure about that one. That's more of a maybe. Still, either way, good purchase, and the more resistances and health Axolotl builds here, the more of a pain he is actually going to be for Frontside to take down, since Frontside, they don't have the best tank busting outside of Elo Daddy, but he doesn't have a last resort, which is kind of a big deal.
Big question if you're Stevenson, because you are set up item-wise for the late game a lot better, as you said, than Frontside right now, is can they protect their Sivir from Volta and Macho? I think that's the big factor in these fights, is if you can Volta and Macho off of your biggest damage dealer right now, find a great ultimate from Preleron, and then maybe have Black Dogs come in to clean up kills, you can find a team fight win. But as soon as Macho or Volta, they don't even have to kill Acrylics, they can just make sure that he has to run away, he's no longer in the fight in threat of dying, then the fight's over for Stevenson. And with Elder Drake up in about 130, Baron is up right now, they're taking control of this pit, but you have both Macho and you have Volta on his bottom side. They're going to start the Baron, but this might be a little bit of a bait, because both of them have teleport. They can join this fight instantaneously.
Double teleports coming out. We'll see if they pull out. It looks like a team fight action.
And Oxwall could not land the slingshot, but a great shockwave tries to set up multiple members, and it will. Black Dog finds one. The shutdown comes through the Rek'Sai. A double kill on this Akali. She's finally joined the fight. She's finally doing exactly what everyone knows she can. But Oxaloto's left all alone to the devices of Macho and Annie. And it looks like, despite what turned into a good-looking fight, the rest of Stevenson is sent to turn tail and run for the hills. They do catch out the Karma, but the damage finally comes through. Black Dog able to clean it up. I didn't know if he was able to finish it off, but he got the Shuriken. However, Preleron set up for his 6th death on this map. And now Macho, he stole that Carlos, which is able to set up a double kill. And now it's only Black Dog left. Almost a Macho can try and push for this mid lane turret and possibly for an inhibitor.
Yeah, 4 for 3 in the favor of Frontside here. Keep in mind that Elder Dragon is spawning here in just a few seconds. And with 4 elemental buffs, this will be absolutely devastating if Frontside's able to get their claws on that one. Looks like they're already starting here between Almost and the Mad Show. There's no smite yet to contest it.
They just have so much damage though, and because of those changes to Silas, I think his power was shifted from wave push to now objectives burn. He can now, because of that extra damage, just burn objectives fairly easily. Plus, they have double Mountain Drake, so it doesn't take that much on top of that. And with the Elder Drake, with online double Mountain, they can easily threat a Baron, and I don't know if there's much Stevenson can do about it. That team fight was their team fight to win, and it just, they couldn't pull it together. It was all over the place, but I think it was just the fact that although Black Dog got 2 kills, Acrylics just got cleaned up too early and therefore couldn't put out as much damage as he wanted to. And now, again, they're going to pressure the Baron with a double Mountain Drake and all the vision control in the world. Elder online as well.
Yeah, Acrylics has to be very careful here. He's on his own, and there's 5 members posturing towards him a little. Able to walk away from that one, but separated from his team for now. Baron, name of the game. We'll see if Stevenson is able to stall this one out, because they have to wait out this dragon buff, unless they just want to try and do a drive-by steal, which is very hard.
Right now, it's standard procedure if you're Frontside Esports. Get the Baron with the double Mountain Elder. Axolotl has used the less bounce to just get away. Couldn't find a way into the pit. 13-11. 6,000 gold lead for Frontside. And now they're just gonna, it looks like they're sending multiple members to that bottom tier 2 to take that. They're shots in the mid lane. They're just going through the motions right now, trying to play textbook League of Legends. Can Stevenson find one more opportunity, one more dream team fight like that one at the Baron pit looked like it was going to be, to find their way back in, or is this the end of game 1? That's the big question as they start this push.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because with both the Elder and the Baron buff here, towers vaporize instantly, and you can't really do too much about it. The best bet that Stevenson has here is wait out that Elder Dragon, which should be timing out soon. Or get a pick like this, but in that case, only does half of the health of Elo Daddy there, since he isn't building that full Nuki AP build, just more of a utility build.
Probably the one time that somebody on Stevenson is wishing that their Lux support hadn't built like a Lux support is when they need to get a pick and possibly kill a damage source. It's going to be the split push, and they even have a wave pushing in the top side of the map if you're blue. So you're really liking this, just slow and steady wins the race. They're going to keep that cannon minion alive. Acrylics has Boomerang Blade to reach out. He's going to throw it at Volta instead, but he knows he can walk up now and get some extra damage. And actually, the bottom lane of Frontside is low, so they have to be really careful. Axolotl can still try and find a engage. Red turret does fall. Mad Show able to claim that one in a 2v1 situation. No one can even answer the south. It looks like Axolotl wants to try and start this one up. He bounces in, goes to left bounce right off that backline, but Agari's able to on the Elo Daddy. If they find a kill on him, he can come back. They do end up killing Annie, but Volta is too powerful, and he has the resurrect, so he can come back and do so much damage. Mad Show hasn't even joined just yet. A rampage and a double kill go the way of Stevenson. They do clean up 3 members of Frontside, but at the cost of an inhibitor, and Mad Show is still pushing. I think they'll take this and try to look for the light behind him, but he's going to get away. Stevenson, again, I think they're happy with 3 kills and just an inhibitor being lost, because they could have lost another inhibitor, possibly the game, if that engage goes the wrong way.
Yeah, and great by Axolotl there to slingshot and then flash into the back line to get Elo Daddy down to that point where the final spark will kill him, because Elo Daddy was sitting around on half health after the little Lux combo he ate earlier from Macrool, and that ended up biting his team in the butt there. A 5 versus 3 will usually go in your favor when we're talking about this even a footing, even though it is a 6,000 gold lead. When you're at this point in the game, that isn't too bad. It's still noticeable, but it's not game ending like if it's at 20 minutes.
I just wonder how the comms went in that conversation. If it was Mad Show saying, guys, I'm going to stick for this inhibitor, or if it was the team telling him to do so or asking him to join the fight. I want to go for the latter, because team game, you want to be on the same page with the team the entire time. But just an interesting factoid, an interesting point of interest. But one other interesting point of interest is the Trinity Force on the Sivir wanting to put out extra damage still, but also have a little bit of sustain in these fights. What do you think of this purchase? I'm 50-50 on it, to be honest.
If this was a few seasons ago when Triforce still gave crit, I could say yes. But giving up the boots for that is going to be very hard and mean Acrylics has to position like a god in team fights. Not to mention, he's only getting a little bit of health from it, I believe 250? The CDR is nice though, 30% of it for more ultimates. That's always nice, but he could have also gone for the Guardian Angel here. It would mean less move speed and then less DPS. But having that revive and the extra armor just to take a little bit of extra damage, always nice. Bit of a death push being set up.
Oh no, Oxalotl. Be very careful where you tread, my friend. As the ability from Matt Cool, he's able to just, you know, throw one, I believe that was a W, at the bush and make sure that it's not nothing crazy going on in there. So the Lucent Singularity, such a great, I guess, lantern, if you want to say, to make sure you can ward off your enemies and see where you're going in dangerous times.
The Elder has just spawned here. You can't really give up a second one of these if you're Stevens. Well, you might be able to, but I'm kind of leaning towards the side of Doubt here. So they really need to contest this. The problem is, even if they get the Elder here, they only have one Ocean to buff up. So it's not going to be the most deadly, and we're just going to see a lot of posturing here. Keep in mind, this dragon falls like paper in the face of Double.
If I'm Stevenson, it's more about just preventing this and maybe looking for the fight around it, not for the objective itself. They're going to keep it actually procced. They're not going to let it reset. I feel like standing up front, a great help from behind coming in from Match. They don't know his momentum there. He does have the Akali open as well. He can cancel and delete people on the backside of the fight. Found Trelon, but Acrylics on the front side has a killing spree, and they're going ham for Stevenson, but it won't be enough. There's just too much of a gold disparity for Frontside Esports, and almost will clean up the Zac pass as Black Dog wants to try and save people's lives, but Acrylics is still going off. He's still alive. That Trinity Force paying dividends. It's 3 kills. Now can they make it 4? As it's only almost Manny versus Black Dog and the Sivir. Sivir has left his top laner alone to go for this one. He's going to push for the mid lane instead. She will try and get a turret, a great zone. You won't be able to outplay, and the shutdown gold goes toward the Rex side. There's a Sivir, she just wants to go for turret and go for the inhibitor trade, but so does Frontside. Frontside, I don't think they can end off of this, but they'll definitely open up the base some more and put themselves in a better position. But if you're Stevenson, I think this is the best trade possible outside of a full team wipe. And it's a full team fight win. This is all you can ask for. And actually, he's going to go for the base. Acrylics, he has one. Next is turret. He's going to go for a second. He's trusting his damage. The tether is there. But can he kill fast enough is the question. No, he cannot. Volta was there to clean up if he had to. So a valiant effort. He does get an inhibitor and a Nexus turret, but knowing that the main source of damage for Stevenson is down, Frontside's going to ping onto that Baron and look for a second Baron buff.
Too much great coming out of Acrylics here. Trying to end the game. He just need to get that inhibitor and back off. Nexus towers, they don't really mean too much here. If you win a fight at this point in the game, you just ended. Without that Sivir up, it looks like this mid lane inhibitor is up for grabs here. Keep in mind, Almost still has the Elder buff here, so he can output insane damage and has a Guardian Angel to keep him alive. And he's just gonna die.
There's not much they can do about it. Looks like Frontside wants to just look for the end. No, they don't have the waves, so they back away. Lay down a ward for maybe a back door, but it's easily cleared by Matt Cool. But now he doesn't have that to clear out his own jungle if he needs to. Frontside has all the positional advantage, the vision advantage, and now they're going to use that to leverage the Baron and make it a second Baron in power play. Will they end it on this one is the big question. Looking at Stevenson, that Trinity Force for Acrylics paid off at the beginning. And again, like you said, that greed, if he had just backed away, they might have been able to stop that Baron, maybe contest some more objectives. But instead, he at least bought a little bit more time for his team to catch up. So Orianna has a ton of damage output now with her 4 items and safety. This Akali we've already seen can kill members 1v1 and solo people out if she wants to. Stevenson, I want to say they're one team fight away from stealing this one away from Frontside.
Yeah, they certainly have the potential to do it, but they're also one team away from losing.
Black Dog, he has the Shroud to make sure he doesn't fall, but it's got to be more careful than that. Again, Matt Cool without that Scry, without that the ability to clear the wards means that his team's in a little bit more danger walking into their own jungle. So they have to be extremely careful that a super minion wave pushing their bottom side, front side pushing the top side. It looks like Axel want to try and go for that slingshot into the Let's Bounce, but couldn't find it. Did get the Feather Storm from Elo Daddy. Elo Daddy doesn't have a flash on him. He does have his Guardian Angel back up, so he has a second chance in fights. They're going to play aggressively. I like this from Frontside saying, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and play with our lead, play with our items and our active cooldowns. Now they have to get away. Axel goes in a Let's Bounce and a flash. They delete one member. His Guardian Angel is down. Matcha will be able to beat back into the fight, but a double kill for Acrylics. He's the one carrying this team back into this play. Volta is trying to do his best in the base. That's going to be 3 members down from Frontside. The shutdown to the Orianna. They can find Volta as well. This should be a kill. The movement speed won't be enough to get him away from this Akali. He even lands the Shuriken on the backside. Matt cooldown. He can land one more light bind. This will be it, but they give up the chase. But they did their job. They do have triple inhibitors down, but they've made the game last a little bit longer. 10-2-7 on Acrylics. And we've seen this from Sivers time and time again, is just stalling this game out, making sure they have a better chance at winning every single minute this game goes on as we get close to the 50-minute mark.
Yeah, and despite 3 key ultimates being down, the Shockwave, the Final Spark, and I believe the Let's Bounce was on cooldown going into that second engage after the messed up scuff one on Eladetty and his Feather Storm. Just the fact that it was a 5 versus 4 really helped out Stevens there to win that team fight. They're going to push in this mid lane as much as they can. Just back off, because keep in mind with double supers, you can't leave lanes unattended too long. Just get top with bot.
At this point, though, is it not free farms to catch up? Because there's no neutral objectives yet for Frontside to fight around. This Elder Drake will be up soon, but it gives him time for Perleron to continue to farm up. He can try and possibly sell his boots. He even still has an item slot once he uses this last control ward. Excuse me. And the Akali as well, building one more item. They have more time to get to 6 items in a full 6 item. Everyone's level 18. I feel like Stevenson, with correct positioning, can go toe-to-toe with Frontside in these fights. We've seen them do it already, and they're still behind by 6,000 gold.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we have 14 seconds to Alders up, and it'll be the 3rd one of the game. Ooh, team fight. Maybe? Yes? No? Maybe so? Nope. Alrighty. But an inhibitor just respawning back up here for Frontside, that is going to help them immensely with pressure here, not having a super mid lane. And this dragon is just melting. Stevenson, they have to do something now.
They have a challenge if they let it go. They popped down Hunt too late, and now that's a second Elder Drake. It's almost spelled, but he wants it. But a 3-man Shockwave buys time, but not enough. Elo Daddy with the burn, finds the click, and this should signal the death knell for Stevenson. Esports as almost going to try and dive into Matt Cool. There may be not enough damage. There will be, but it's an even trade. All in all, it's going to be a full wipe for Frontside. They're going to take it home and take game 1. Stevenson put up a good fight, but Frontside showing their prowess and showing why they're a top team. Can they close out for the rest of the series is the question.
Yeah, and turns out you need, what, 3 Barons and 3 Elder Dragons to close out this game? It's a bit of a worrying trend, but you also have to realize Stevenson had a bunch of wave clear there, and that one Ocean was very clutch for them. But still, I do feel like Frontside could have probably ended a little earlier, especially if it hadn't been for that first Baron call where they lost 3 people. But either way, they are still able to take the W in this game, and congrats to Frontside.
Definitely a war of attrition when you have a Sivir, a Lux, an Orianna, 3 very competent wave clearing tools. I do have to give props to Stevenson because I feel like a lot of that was due to them just keeping control and staying calm. We saw even when they were behind early, they kept vision control in their jungle for as long as possible. And in team fights, Acrylic's good positioning, Oxalolo finding great engages, and Kurlon even came through with a couple of clutch shockwaves there to set them up in good position. I just don't think in game 2, if they don't give up the early advantage they did in the solo lanes, then they maybe actually win game 1. We'll see if they can do it coming in game 2. What do you think?
Yeah, I do believe Stevenson, they have a chance because we saw how well it was going for them, and they had the potential to. It was all off the back of Acrylic there, but I do feel like in game number 2, Acrylic is probably going to have his pull pinched, and he might get a little more attention to bot lanes, so Frontside doesn't have as bad of a loss down there this game.
We will have to see. Coming back, game 2 after this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Ponderosa, folks. If you're just joining us for UCL Wednesday nights, Stevenson, they put up a good fight despite getting behind early, but Frontside were able to eventually close out in a 50-minute game that was really just a war of attrition because of the Sivir pick and just all the wave clear Stevenson had at their disposal. And now going into the second round, the second game and the second round of picks and bans, bans pretty much staying the same. And I think one thing we said was a focal point wasn't anything even that Stevenson in the draft. It was really kind of Krelleron and the way he started the game, not only from runes or from a mastery and summoner spell standpoint, but just from the way he played the lane, really gave Frontside an advantage early.
Yeah, because Frontside, they wanted to win that top side. We kept hammering that point home, and if you die 2 or 3 times in the mid lane to ganks, that's helping their top side win. But there's the Aatrox first pick here for Stevens. They saw how much of a pain that was to do with last game. So they're like, you know what? Maybe the nerfs weren't enough. And to be fair, the nerfs, they certainly do hurt Aatrox, but they by no means knock him out, as far as I can tell.
For sure, man. I'm just surprised that we're seeing teams be so lenient in letting him go through. And it's a symptom that we sometimes I guess see in other leagues where it's, oh well, we have an answer to it. It's fine. We can let him through because we have an answer to it. Don't worry about it. And then, as you saw in game one, Stevenson didn't have the answer to it, but they actually get Sivir and Yuumi. So they pick up the Sivir again for Acrylics that did so well despite that Trinity Force pickup, which was interesting to say the least. They also get the Yuumi though, and Yuumi Sivir has been one of the strongest uh, bot lane synergies that we've seen since Yuumi came out.
Yeah, because Sivir, just a naturally safe 80 carry. Sure, you have a bit of trouble in the laning phase, but Yuumi helps patch that up with her heals, shields, and the constant poke. Not to mention the shields from Bop and Pop, or whatever it's called, the passive, help quite a bit. But, hold the phone. Is that an Ivern? Or
No,
is
it
that
is a
a
Silas.
bug?
It is a Silas. They're
Uh,
spamming in the chat right now. Frontside is like, that's Silas. That's not Ivern. Don't. That's a mistake.
Because
You've
it
got
has
the
been.
wrong man.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Ivern in competitive since season 6, I want to say. Back
Yeah,
when the items were so good on him. But
that would
then
have.
they just kind of nerfed healing and shielding across the board. So,
Yeah, that would have been very very perplexing, mind-boggling. Somewhere in Washington D.C., Wiggs, one of my old cast friends, would have been rejoicing. He has like an Ivern radar. Whenever Ivern gets picked in competitive play, it pops up on his radar, and he immediately just starts spamming Twitter and comes into the chat and does whatever he wants because that's his guy. But it's the Ivern, the Lux, and the Rek'Sai for Frontside. So picks really being traded back and forth. Frontside getting a pick of their own almost on the Rek'Sai. Now they have the Lux this time for Annie. We see the rest of these bands follow up. It will be Jarvan the fourth and Zed for Frontside being taken away. And Ezreal Kled, that Zed ban targeting Krelleron is interesting. Really, really interesting.
yeah, Zed is a fairly decent pick in the mid lane right now. And I want to say he does okay into Silas. I haven't seen it, but I have heard high elo players saying that despite the recent nerfs from few patches go, Zed is still very good and he is slowly climbing up while the metagame around him changes. The metagame surrounding him in the mid lane changes. And so taking that off the board, always good. It could also just be a case of comfort pick. Maybe they don't want Krelleron hopping on that Zed. Who knows? But the Urgot locked in here for Frontside. Very interesting. Urgot hasn't been picked as much recently. We all remember Worlds 2018 and how it was just always Urgot and Aatrox in the top lane and or mid lane.
So maybe they feel like they've found that answer. Maybe they just go back to the OG vanilla face off. As that Trundle is actually going to be an Irelia for Stevenson, and it's a Zac to round out. So Stevenson getting a lot of they got the god duo, the buddy cop duo of Aatrox and Irelia with a Sivir and a Yuumi. Frontside decide we're gonna go a little bit more comfort, and I want to say this is really just almost like a win lane win game. Basically, we're just gonna square up with you and try and just beat you outright. We don't need to rely on getting any too powerful picks. And uh, you know, uh, man, this is spicy from Frontside, giving away as much as they did, and then taking what they did. It's gonna be a really, really, really fun game to watch.
Yeah, especially with that last pick Vayne, because while Sivir can't really spell shield anything from the Vayne aside from Condemn, which you don't really need against Sivir, it is going to be very hard for the Vayne to lane into the Sivir, Yuumi, Poke, and Wave Clear. Since Vayne, one of the. I forget if she's the only champion left or like one of two or three champions left that is purely single target. Or no, she should be the only one left that's purely single target because the last one I recall was Old Poppy before it. So but when you're all single target, that usually means you have a piss poor wave clear, so to speak. So not so good when you're into that Sivir, who is known for godlike wave clear, just boomerang blade, ricochet, every wave, all day, every day.
All I see from this Vayne Lux is, unless the Lux can hit a light binding, unless Annie can set up Elo Daddy, they're just gonna get shoved into oblivion by Sivir Yumi. It's not gonna be fun, and that means that Almost might have to come down to trying to help. uh, they put a lot on the Almost's shoulders right now, because I don't, again, like you said, we haven't seen this Urgot Aatrox matchup in a long time. I want to say, just because of how much love Aatrox has gotten, that he's going to have the advantage that Black Dog's going to be running this lane, and it's going to be the weak side of their map. But really, Almost, he just has a lot of work to do. Besides that Silas, maybe if he can run it through the mid lane again. Otherwise, man, whew, they're really putting their jungle to the test for this game too. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we'll see how uh, Axolotl performs. He did fairly well in the Zac game #1. Can't say too much.
Yep.
Had some ganks here and there, worked out.
It,
Wasn't
it,
able to get too many kills off of it, but
it
pressure.
was as expected. It's Zach early. He tried his best, but most of the lanes were too safe. He did find that early kill on the Volta, which was great. But after that, most of Frontside either had too big of a lead or played too safe for him to exploit. We remember that gank in the mid lane where he tried to 2v1 Mad Show, and Mad Show almost turned it around for a 1-for-0 or a 2-for-0 double kill. So I won't say that that is all his fault. He did his best given the circumstances, but he should have at least a better time, because he has a lot more setup this time around, just a lot more avenues and access to lanes to try and get his team ahead. So all in all, I'm expecting a big game out of Oxalotl this time, at least in the early jungle pressure. Uh, and to get his team, to get Krelleron, get Black Dog set up for success. And really, all Acrylics and Matt Cool had to do was chill in the bomb lane, keep shoving waves, and play safe, and then scale up.
Yeah, because a Sivir against a Vayne and Lux lane shouldn't have too much pressure. There's one spell you're going to be binding, or spell shielding, and that'll be the Lux bind. And that is fairly easy to spell shield. So unless Elo Daddy follows that up with a tumble into Condemn, that will get a stun. Acrylics and Cool will be very safe in this lane. And then once we see level 6 Acrylics, once he gets that on the hunt, gonna be even trickier to gank the spot lane for Almost. So it could just be a repeat of last game where the advantages for Stevenson keep adding up in this bot lane, and there's not really too much Almost can do about it.
If Acrylics and Matt Cool can survive what could potentially be, if Almost comes their way, that early flash engage from Rek'Sai without giving up a kill, without burning too many summoners, then they are golden. And even Matt Cool realizing that, because Yumi, once you get attached, pretty much you're dead to rights, even if you grab a flash just because of where you're dropped out. He goes ahead and takes the exhausting knight and doesn't take that safety summoner spell. And one more thing we have to note about Yumi coming through a change that was pretty big is that now her dash is interrupted by CC. So if he's caught by a Vein Condemn, by a Light Binding, any of the forms that Frontside has to try and maybe get a catch while he's shifting targets for his attach, then he is an easy kill. It's no longer just we have to wait for the Yumi to become detached from whoever she's with, or detaching herself. They can try and get her in mid dash. So he has to be careful of that as well and make sure he doesn't get caught. And just hopefully he read the patch notes and isn't going to have that happen to him, because otherwise that's the one way I could see this bot lane falling, is if Matt Cool plays a little bit recklessly.
We will have to see, but I do give a very heavy advantage in the bot lane still over to Stevenson's here because even if we do see a mess up from Matt Cool and a kill goes over to Elo Daddy, it will seem like optimal situation here. If the lane has been playing out as it should be up until then, that should just be a mostly evening trade for Elo Daddy because he should probably be down a tower plate or two and be down a wave or two of CS.
We'll have to see. I mean, looking at the mid matchup alone, I really do like this more for Krelleron. So they have the bot lane almost sewed up. The mid lane Krelleron should have a better advantage. Hopefully doesn't die to too many early ganks, but we're going to go ahead and let the match decide how this plays out. But before we go to our break, if you're looking for a way to find fast, reliable scrims for your team to practice against, then Scuttle Scrims, they're going to be your new best friend, guys. I mean, Scuttle Scrims, they're reliable, they're easy to use, and it allows you to quickly search for active teams of all ranks and skill levels that are looking for reliable practice partners. Simply log in, search for your specific ranks, and request a scrim. And, it's easy as pie. But for more information, if you want to read about how easy it is for yourself with your own eyes, just go ahead and visit their website at scuttlescrims.com. And when we return, we're going to be in the game too. We'll see if Frontside can close down on a 2-0 sweep and pump up their record to 4-0, 8-1 overall, or if Stevenson can take us to a game 3 and look to challenge the second place team and get their first win. Welcome back to the Cantina, everybody. We're here for Game 2, Frontside, Stevenson. And Stevenson is trying to take us to a Game 3. Frontside just wanted to end this one a little Game 1, but that, again, wasn't all their fault. They had to face a very good wave clear composition, but now it's a composition that is definitely favoring Stevenson on this red side, which is how many power picks they were to pick up. And I want to focus on this top lane matchup because we haven't seen the Urgot in a while. Got hit with some nerfs a few patches ago that really took him out of the limelight. Was one of the original answers to Aatrox, and you know, I guess Frontside is hoping that he can still be that answer. At least he can survive lane because he did go inspiration, so he will have biscuits to try and sustain.
Yeah, we will have to see because with the changes to Urgot that he got around preseason, I want to say. It did make him scale up into a very powerful late game monster thanks to the constant Gatling gun. He's able to constantly hose that out, really helps. They also buffed the range on his ulti, so we might see some long range snipes. If Annie builds a lot of AP on this Lux and gets someone down to a very low health bar, we might just see American Sniper Volta just crank out that Fear Beyond Death.
Yeah, even if he can just find the disdain to throw someone back into the rest of his team, that would be just as helpful. Looking at the objectives, we're gonna have a Mountain Drake first. So last game it took us a minute to get to those, but this time we'll have it first off the bat. I think this is gonna be 3 in a row now, between Game 1 and Game 2. And looking at both these teams, I can definitely say that it's going to be Stevenson that's going to want this one the most, as all the lanes are starting out pretty even. No real significant CS leads being pumped out, is already that prowling projectile laying down good amount of damage on the Elo Daddy.
Yeah, and this is the weakness of the Vayne in this matchup. You don't really have anything to respond to the poke with, especially once Acrylics gets the bop and top shield. Big trade in the mid lane.
Preleron finding that stun. They did nerf the range as far as the width of the range of Aurelia's flawless duet, but that didn't stop him from getting down Mad Show to half his health, and the top side as well. Like Volta was getting an advantage in that trade, but here we go, almost. It's like deja vu, Game 1 all over again. First blood going to the Rek'Sai, and we said before the game, Preleron, if you play this lane well and don't give up advantages, your team will be fine. And he's already going against the script.
Yeah, just deja vu of Game 1. You said it pretty aptly there. First blood going over to almost. He's gonna appreciate that because Aatrox, I'm sorry, Rek'Sai can snowball with the lead. A little different there. Void Monster versus a oh god, what were they called? The
dark, nope, not the Darken. Yeah, the Darken. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, they're, you know, one's a mindless horde that just wants to devour all of it. The other one's very mindful about their devouring of everything. And Volta and Almost actually find Zac on the rotation. Can his top laner save his life? No, and they get the both kills. Black Dog trying to save the life of his jungler ends up sacrificing his own, underestimated the Urgot damage, and there you have it. You know, you talked about it. He is still seemingly a very good pick into the Aatrox. Or maybe it's just Volta playing it well, or maybe it was just Black Dog mispositioning. Who knows? All we know is that now it's 3-0 in favor of Frontside.
Yeah, huge 3-0 lead, and it's only 4 minutes into the game as well, which is pretty big. Might be a 3-1.
It will be.
Here's that one. His first kill of the game. Much better than last game, where I believe he was 0-5 at some point, or 1-5, so 1-1, definitely an improvement.
Yep, a nice rotation, catching a really greedy bat both after he helps his jungler get that Scuttle Crab, and it's going to be a consolation prize. Now the Macho shows up, he has Dark Seal. See what this area decides to respond with is, oh my god, that damage in the bottom lane onto Annie. Prowling projectile with Boomerang Blade, making sure that he cannot really step too far up in this lane, because one more combo like that and he's dead. As this Yuumi already asserting her dominance as only a feline can. Mad Show going back in, found the chains and the Q, as Oxlo will have to walk away from this one. Maybe trying to look for an invade or a gank there. That's just going to set up a good invade for Almost if he wants to. he's going to find him again. He has no passes, so it forces out some flash from the Zac, which means no more flash engages, no more safety, and again, almost just putting on the pressure from minute one and putting his team in a great position to take this early game.
Yeah, and even though Zac got some early game buffs to the unstable matter, didn't buff his squishiness of the fact he does have to use his health bar to clear the jungle, so almost just able to saunter on in there and force out the flash of the vulnerable goo, so to speak. And that is another small advantage for Frontside, who they're certainly going to be enjoying that.
It's going to be a flash down for this Mountain Drake. Black Dog taking a ton of damage from the Urgot. I don't know if he'll be down long enough for him to miss out on Rift Herald, so at least he can have that constellation prize, but for sure this Mountain Drake, if he's not careful, and they might not even contest knowing that he has no way out, and the only one that can actually take it, bar is Steel. But he does have his bottom lane with the push advantage. Almost was looking to rotate, but couldn't find anything on the back of that. So now Elo Daddy and Annie had to suffer in just hell for a little bit longer as the Rek'Sai is going to look for other advantages. Oh my god. Prowling Projectile again with the Ignite and Exhaust. A flash forward, the Boomerang Blade finds the killer. Krillix doing all he can, continuing his rampage from game one to keep his team in this game. And now they can push down Annie and possibly look for a kill as that Mad Cool with the help of the Airy finds another one. They're going to push turret plating on top of it.
Yeah, that's now an 11 CS lead. 1-0-1 on this Sivir and a turret plate to boot. That is very scary. Mid lane though. No? Alright, looked a lot more flashes, but no fully committed to the all-in there. That's 2 plays now in the spot lane, and if you take a look at the gold inventory of Krillix here, he has 2,300 gold on this bag. Elo Daddy only has 2,000 gold total, so it kind of goes to show that there's a 800 gold discrepancy between these two carries, and it's going to be very noticeable when there's a BF sword and a pickaxe to just a vampiric scepter and that knowledge sword.
We knew it was going to be bad. We knew that they were going to have trouble, but you would expect that they would know this and try to play safe. But is there really any way to play safe against this Yuumi when that Prowling Projectile is such a great range and almost going to try and answer back on the opposite side of the map, continue to try and get this Aatrox behind? So he's definitely a pressure point that they want to make sure that they can wrap up and make sure it doesn't burst. Looks like the bait is through. The disdain follows as well. A dash from Black Dog is canceled, and this will be that Aatrox falling. So a great gank setup, and now this Urgot can look for turret plates of his own. Oxlaw wanted to answer back on this bottom side, but ends up getting light binded, and Annie can just walk away. So Frontside, for everything that Stevenson is giving them, they're answering back in kind. However, because Rek'Sai is on that top side of the map, it means that Stevenson's going to look to go ahead and take this Mountain Drake. It's
kind of a big deal when you look at how hard the bot lane is winning for Acrylics and Natcool here. They've already got 2 tower plates. Now with that extra 16% true damage, I want to say for the first buff, they're going to go through that tower even quicker. This is going to make life even harder for Elo Daddy here. One saving grace is that they don't have an Ocean Dragon to back that up, so they can't just infinitely tank and infinitely wave clear. Bit of a force trap being set up here. Frontside. Look at where Axel
they don't know anything about, and the Yuumi ultimate is popped. Axel even gets the Let's Bounce in the mid lane. Macho is able to get Curler on one more time, but the question is, can he let that X turn on a kill on the Acrylics? No, he doesn't have his support to help him out. He tries to use the final hour invisibility to survive a little bit longer, but to no avail. A stretching strike does bring Annie back into Boomerang Blade mode, but it's not going to be enough for the kill, so he retreats back on a turret, but it could get some turret plating off the back of that Mountain Dragon. And now Black Dog has to be wary. He's in trouble. He gets knocked up. He has the ultimate, but because he doesn't get a kill, it doesn't even matter. He's cleaned up. So where Oxlaw makes one move, almost is 2 steps ahead, finds a double kill, but that will at least allow the bottom lane of Stevenson to get so much gold off these turret plates, potentially even look for this first turret blood.
Now there's nearly 30 minions that differentiate these 2 carries. Oh, right in the mid lane.
It looks like whose ultimate was that being used? I think it was Mad Show throwing out the challenge on the Krelleron, and that's why he won the back and forth. Vanguard's Edge stealing ultimates. It's great. It's so great. And now that means that he has lane advantage more. before. He's up 101, is working toward that Zonia's first, I believe, so even building a little bit defensive. Oxalotl here, talking about defensive, trying to protect his top laner, and will root out almost to make sure he has to go ahead and take that recall. And look at this roam up from Annie, but she will get spotted out by a ward, and they will clear that one out. All in all, we passed in 10 minutes. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Frontside, despite some of the early action. And with an Infernal Drake coming up and Rift Turret available, they might be able to look for something, because once again, their 3v3 on the top side of the map is winning by all accounts.
Yeah, because look at the jungle difference right now. 2 levels separate these two junglers, and that's just from all the kills and the farm advantage that Almost has been able to cure. And that is going to be mattering quite a bit for any potential dragon fights. Although, top lane now under threat here. Krellick's gonna have to dip and dive out and drops a bit of a fatty crit onto Volta. Keep in mind though that Infernal's not gonna be up for another 2.5-ish minutes, so plenty of time to just keep pushing in this wave top lane and try and get yourself a second tower before blades fall.
The juicy lane swap, and I love this macro rotation from Stevenson. Usually most teams, they win that bot lane and they try and rotate the bot side to the mid lane, but hold on. Trying to save a kill with life, and he flashes the light binding. Rek'Sai falls through the ultimate, trying to get a kill. The final spark misses as well, and now Crowleron is here to answer back. He's gonna start rotating up. He does have that Vanguard's edge. Question is, can he find a target? He's gonna rotate and try and get in a better position, but great job by Acrylics and Matt Cool to dodge so many abilities that would have spelled certain doom for them. And with Rift Herald available, that's Rek'Sai ultimate down, Urgot ultimate is gone, the final spark is down as well. They just couldn't find anything, and that sets Stevenson up for so much success. They're gonna go ahead and start up the Rift Herald. Yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah, keep in mind though, it did cost Acrylics and Matt Cool every single one of their summoner spells. So that is a lot of vulnerability on the two. Look for a potential steal. Bot lane, quite a bit of a spicy fight, but man, Elo Daddy is the one who has to pay both his summoners for that, it looks like.
Almost the juicy outplay from Elo Daddy. Both of them were looking for that 1v1, and the Aatrox looks, again, like I said, behind, and well, Macho shows up, so yeah, he's not long for this world. Another clean up. Black Dog, he's the one that they've been really putting their attention to this game. He has not had a fun time at all. What else can you expect when you're playing an Aatrox? But again, this lane rotation holds. Acrylics and Maculu are still up here trying to find that turret pressure. The question is, what will Frontside do to answer back? The warding is being cleared, and all Frontside is trying to do, make sure they don't lose both these side lane tier 1 turrets before they even cross the 15-minute mark, as a TP will come through from Black Dog. Maybe they decide to play off of that now that they have the teleport advantage, but Almost decided he's going to go for mid lane instead. They force the blackout. Krelleron, Johnson from the Rek'Sai falling to Prey Seeker. This should be a very dead Irelia. All he needs is to land one more ability. And see, he's trying to give it over. No, he just goes ahead and takes that kill himself. So, once again, the dual lane, the bot lane for Stevenson doing perfectly fine. Soul lanes, they're really plaguing them as Infernal Drake spawns up, so that kill couldn't have come with any better timing.
Yeah, that is going to be a nice pickup here for Frontside. They will very much appreciate that, because similar to last game, everybody on their team is going to be building damage. Black Dog 9 is around to try and contest, but this is an 0-4 Aatrox, more so for the vision. Does he get the steal? No.
He does have the passes when the left bounce. He wants to set something up for Black Dog. Maybe this is his time to finally take over. Macho, can he survive? He has his own left bounce to use. He wants to truly escape. Black Dog wants to chase him down on the backside. It will be bolted in the pit, forcing Oxul to jump back out into the middle of Frontside. However, the Yumi ultimate sets up the shutdown onto the Rek'Sai. They will get that over to the Black Dog. Now they want to set up for the re-engage. The light binding stops them, and that Yumi showing its power as Matt Cool sets up a 1-for-none trade. It looked like Volta might be able to have an influence with that TP, but wasn't able to finish off the kill before Zach could get out of the pit. And now at 5-8, the goal lead is even, and maybe Stevenson can try and look to push the mid or go for that top lane again and get a goal lead for the first time it feels like this entire series. As Zach joins back into the mid lane, but misses the slingshot into anything else, so they won't be able to find a kill on the back.
And that trade in the long run will go in the favor of Frontside, since the Infernal will keep scaling. But that 1-for-0 does leave the map quite open now. We see in both mid and bot lane right now. Stevenson just pushing up and all in the mid lane.
The baited back is the deadliest, but they won't find a kill just yet. Instead, it will be Black Dog to try and solo out Elo Daddy, but he does have Lux to help out, and he's not able to get that last auto attack to set up for the resurrection off of the ultimate. So he will fall, and that will get Elo Daddy a kill he felt like he desperately needed. He was only sitting on the Blade of the Rune King, but Acrylics wants to try and get the Rex side. There's too much mobility on Almost, and he'll get out with his life intact.
Look at the Mad Show here coming in for the flash.
Acrylics has to be very careful. He steals the ultimate, so on is there, and he gets the final pixel particle of that chain. But can they get the kill? Yumi ultimate does stop Mad Show for now, but it didn't stop Almost, or did it? The stun did actually follow up. So again, the bottom lane just playing with danger, toying with their lives, and coming out on top. They're the true daredevils of this game.
Yeah, and it works out for them there. It does cost them another fight though.
The prowling projectile will find a slow. Volta isn't long for this world. Shut down for the Irelia, and I feel like Stevenson is really, while Frontside is still somewhat out-rotating them, and looks like they should have the upper hand in these fights. It's just the power picks of Stevenson at least are keeping them in this one, as Acrylic's done his job. Krelleron picks up a couple in these last few minutes, and even Black Dog has himself a kill. And if this game goes too long, there's not much you can do to stop an Irelia and an Aatrox, much less let alone with a Sivir to back them up, and they drop Rift Herald and they get the turret in the tier 2. Nacho though wants to try and find a little bit more, but a great spell shield will set up the slingshot, and that will be another one for Krelleron. This is exactly what Stevenson wanted. They baited them in the fight. The Yumi ultimate comes down, and they will finish off Almost. Elo Daddy gets one more kill to follow through on the backside. Oh, great disdain from Volta. Make sure that Krelleron can't follow through with another one. So Elo Daddy very low. He has the red buff though for the region. And that will force away Acrylics and Matt Cool. 11-9, Frontside answering back, saying you may have great power picks, but even though the engage is better, our mechanics inside the fight gave us the even it out for us.
Keep in mind, while that was all happening, Black Dog bot lane able to catch up a little bit on the CS and get some pressure onto that tower. So keep in mind, that was also off the back of both those towers falling in the top lane, and an extra charge onto that inhibitor tower from the Rift Herald. So a lot of value being picked up by Stevenson here, and that's good for them. They certainly do want value, but not able to get the inhibitor tower off of that. That is definitely feels bad, man.
It's very good for them, despite, you're right, not finding that inhibitor turret. I like the way they're playing through Acrylics and letting him speed up the tempo and momentum of this game. This time, last game, it wasn't an advantage for Frontside, but it felt like Frontside was a little bit more calculating and methodical, and Almost was pretty much giving them the go button for a lot of these moves, while Acrylics just like, hey, we're going to use our speed, rotate up to the top side, rotate up to the mid, push around the map, and make sure that Frontside cannot catch up with us. And when they do, we have a good enough goal lead and good enough item and power spike to try and challenge them. Unfortunately, Frontside has just been able to, again, through just the way they're playing these fights, keep it even as far as kills wise, and they're only down 2,000. Now they're going for a death push. The final spark does miss. The light binding there is able to connect. The Yumi ultimate stalls out just long enough for the rest of the team to collapse. And oh my god, they obliterated all three of the members of Frontside that were trying to get in on that cheeky play. Just so fast, faster than the speed of light. Now the Mountain Dragon, another one for Stevenson, and just that clapback was outstanding. It blew my wig back.
Yeah, a disastrous team fight there for Frontside there, and it all started off that attempted cheeky pick, but Annie missed it. Oh, fight breaks out again.
Elo Daddy is able to get one. Is he the Vayne that we all dread? Don't forget, but he won't be able to set the Mad Show in down up for a shutdown. Should be able to get Exolotl too. The passes will pop, but there's no support to stop him, and they just let Acrylics and Matt push for this bottom tier 2 and get that extra turret. So a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Frontside, but again, pushing momentum. 3,000 goal lead now in favor of Stevenson's. The Acrylic just keeps rotating around. He is that AD carry that everyone has some dread and some love in their games, because either you're the teammate that's like, why aren't you playing with the team? Why aren't you fighting with us? You're just split pushing turrets and taking objectives. Or you're like, oh, thank God, someone is split pushing and taking objectives because everyone else just has no brain and they just want to fight all the time.
Yeah. Well, going back to that little scuffle in the mid lane, Madshow was able to pick up 2 rather juicy shutdowns off the back of it for an extra 450-ish gold. If you combine that with the extra 600 gold for those 2 kills. He is now 4-1 on the Silas, so he is looking fairly pretty right now, even though his lane opponent has 6 kills. He does have a CS lead for his own, and he isn't too far behind in gold, only 500 down. Bot lane though, a little deja vu.
Volta not able to land a disdain. If he did, he might have found the kill. Elo Daddy being sold out by Crowler that top lane all by himself, didn't have his support, so Aurelia 7-5-3, has a Trinity Force, has a Tiamat, and Krilleron having the game that he wished he had last time in game 1. Because if he had this type of game in game 1, they might have actually come out on top, and this could have been a threat of a 2-0. Looking at the objectives, and I gotta hold that thought, because Krilleron, I just gave him a lot of props, but can he get out of this engage? 2v1, he has no ultimate. Without the Vanguard's edge, he should fall very, very easily. The final spark was there, but I mean, almost, he has that for sure kill confirmed with the ultimate, so that'll be a shutdown onto the Irelia. They're pinning onto the Baron pit, but the most that Stevenson can get out of that was a little bit of lane pressure on the bottom side and some vision control around the Baron pit. So Frontside is relieving that pressure valve, putting themselves in position to be able to contest if Stevenson wants to try and push tempo and go for this. Acrylics definitely trying to look for the game on the Mad Show. Yumi ultimate should be able to stun one. No, a great flash over the wall from the Silas gets him out of harm's way, but the collapse from Black Dog doesn't matter because it will end up being just a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Frontside. Black Dog just died too fast. He just used on in an instant. Elo Daddy, you're online.
Oh, Elo Daddy.
Oh, the stun, and Volta is able to pull in before the heal, so it didn't matter, and that sets up the Yumi to die as well. Oh man, he wasn't able to use the zoomies to heal him in time, so it didn't cancel out the ultimate, and now they're gonna look for vision. Will they start with Baron? They will. They have an Irelia, and as that closing in, Krilleron does have the Vanguard's edge and Ignite. Options and Find a Steal with Ignite or with the Smite, but they might still try to settle the fight. It won't matter, the Vanguard's edge does get 1 kill. No, it turns them around. They weren't able to get the damage out in time, and now Black Dog is here. He's stuck in the fight. He has nowhere to go. Mad Show can choose to chase this down or go back to Baron. It's like one of those RPGs. Choose your path, choose your destiny. And he decides, I'm going to go back to my team to secure this Baron.
And just like that, Stevenson blows their lead, and this game is anybody's to take now. Slight gold lead and a Baron buff in the hands all Frontside right now. Huge shutdowns picked up, and you look at the KDAs, all of a sudden, there's a 7-3 Urgot, 6-3 Rek'Sai, and a 4-1 Silas. Not to mention there's now 3 kills on Elo Daddy. So, a lot of kills going into the pockets of Frontside is quite a scary no-no for Stevenson here, who was in the driver's seat up until that rather disastrous pick in the mid lane.
And at 3, 4, and 6 on this vein, it doesn't matter because he has the Bork, he has the Ginsus, he is ready to take any fight he wants.
Black Dog.
Found Black Dog again, and he just doesn't have any damage really to fight this. He knows this. He's an Aatrox that doesn't even have his death stance just yet, and that's a rampage for almost 346 gold in his pocket. And they can even try and look for this Drake coming up. It's going to be a Mountain, denying the triple Mountain Drake with Baron buff on top of that, and good grief. I have to point out a really small mechanic in these fights, and it's something that usually you don't see a lot. Particles that happen in these fights, it's something you don't notice. And I had to hold that thought as Krilleron might get chased down. Volta does have the right to score it. They have found the Disdain, and this should be a kill onto the Irelia and the Mount Drake as well. They're going to go ahead and push this freestanding gold in the bottom and mid lane as well. And that's the mechanic I want to talk about, the Disdain, is that he's had so many key Disdains that last Baron fight. He doesn't Disdain Krilleron in time. Krilleron kills, I think it was Elo Dad that was very, very close to falling. And in that fight probably turns to the 2v2 of Stevenson. Mad Show is sitting, but they're not going to find the picks yet. They're going to go ahead and just rotate and get ready for the mid lane push.
Yeah, and this Earth Dragon pickup for Frontside is very clutch because their siege is really bad. So having that extra 3 damage for whatever hours of use up is very nice. Oh, bot lane Black Dog. He dies before the Fear Beyond Death.
There it goes again. The disdain sets up the kill. Now Macho is forced out the Yumi ultimate. He does have the Ignite on him as well, but he did his job. Sure that they had to use important team fight ultimate to stave him off, and he'll be able to, if he needs to, recall and rejoin the fight. He doesn't have teleport this game like he did last time, but he's just running right down. Lotto gets interrupted by Almost though, and he has to use the Electron trying to escape. He's not able to find a kill onto Elo Daddy. He had a great roll, dodges the damage, and they send him into the passive, and Bolt is able to dominate the Irelia on the bottom side. So it looks like what could have been a pick onto the AD carry means not. It's all for nothing, or Acrylics picks up one. Can he chase down more? The exhaust is there. The prowling projectile. Can he get another one? The boomerang blade shut down. Almost goes in for the flash. Dude, are you sure you want to do this right now? A triple kill, and now it's only Vayne. They can possibly look for this kill. Another kill for Volta in the bottom side means he can push for this one, but Acrylics doing all he can, trying to bring them from the brink of destruction and keep them in this game. It might not matter with Volta this far ahead.
He is so massively far ahead on this Urgot. We had some doubts about it in Champ Select, like, oh man, we haven't seen Urgot in a while. He's been hit with some nerfs. Can he still perform into the Aatrox matchup? Because Aatrox much more favorably treated by Riot. But Volta making us eat our own words there, and 11-3 on this Urgot, that is quite a stellar performance to say the least.
Has a death dance of his own. I mean, because of really around his play, not just this series, but in this game alone, it turned what was a negative 2,000 gold deficit into a 3,000 gold lead for Frontside. And Baron's not up yet. They still have 2 minutes until that. So there's no real neutral objectives for the next 3 minutes or so for them to try and contest. But they have so much push power, they can go for a split push, take the rest of the standing gold on the map, and really exacerbate their lead. As again, Black Dog has found out he still doesn't have his Death Dance. He still doesn't have that item. He's
3 levels down right now. Oh my god, this is just gonna be a very slow and drawn out death.
Very painful. I mean, he has a small dash, but he just doesn't have the mobility and the right move to go legendary. 12, 3, and 4. Give Volta a hand claps in the chat, please, because he has put on a show for us, showing everything Urgot can do. We haven't seen him in a minute, but it doesn't matter. Vanguard's edge comes out from Mad Show to counter the engage from Oxal, but Prolon throws out his own. It will be a setup for Volta to go in even further and find one more kill. Yumi is here with the ultimate to try and shut down Almost. They will get the kill on the Irelia. Now they want to try and get the chase down. The prowling projectile does miss. He wasn't able to bend it like Beckham back into Annie. Now that's his bolts running, but Irelia does have the jump. She does have the ability to close in on his lux. They should be able to find him on the backside, but they've left Acrylics all alone, and he gets chopped up into the meat grinder and killed. And now Mackle, he reattacks back to the Sipper at the wrong time, and he's gonna fall as well. It's just gonna send Preleron running through the enemy jungle to try and find a way back out. Elo Daddy wants to find a kill, and Black Dog actually, oh my god, that damage. 2-11-2, but he finally got his Death's Dance, which means he can actually try and contest these 1v1s. And with Drake about to spawn, Baron about to spawn, only 2 members left for each team. Stevenson, I mean, they barely turned that one around individually, but really, Frontside just, again, flexing their muscles.
Yeah, keep in mind, when Black Dog went into that duel with Elo Daddy, he was 3 levels down on the enemy AD, which is not what you want to see when you're a top laner. But what can you do when you're now 2-11? The extra gold will be very much appreciated, but his team lost that mid lane inhibitor tower. So now any fight they unfortunate stopwatch, but any team fight his team loses will probably result in that mid lane inhibitor falling.
Looks like both teams starting to pressure around this Baron, starting to posture around it. Stevenson doing a good job of getting her early. Early bird gets the worm. They're the good student. They're the all A's one that gets the class 20 minutes before everyone enters the classroom. They're gonna have vision priority. I want while we have a little tiny low, I want to dispel something. I said my wig got blown back earlier. I don't wear a wig. I wear a cowboy hat. It looks like Elo Daddy might have beat his last pop though, as he has to use the stopwatch. It won't matter. Trelleron is able to end his life. Elo doesn't do anything, but it does set up a great Vanguard's edge to get the 1,000 shutdown gold over to Axolotl. You would have hoped it went to Black Dog, but what it does set up is Baron. Of course, they're going to start it. Macho still pushing mid lane. It's only Annie, and it's only almost here to contest because Macho said, I'm going to go for the inhibitor, everything be damned. And Krelleron makes sure that Annie's not even going to be a factor. And Stevenson's doing a great job of Baron defense. They're going to kill Aatrox as well. They get Baron after what looked like maybe a dangerous time for them. They find a way back.
Inhibitor though, it is very low, but he's gonna have home guard enemies coming in.
He does have the pass. He's able to clean that one up. He will get collapsed on, so he'll probably end up dying anyway. He has no real way out. Is that a good trade? Is the question. Pops you on the hunt. He gets dominated by Krelleron. Is that a good trade? They got Baron. He gets inhibitor. Should he have joined the rest of the team to try and contest that Baron?
Yeah, because you aren't going to win that 3v5 here as Frontsiding. Getting that mid lane inhibitor will at least buy you some time with the constant push in the mid lane. Especially since it looks like Stevenson are gaining the mid inhib on their own, so evening that out is always if you're on the back foot. Final Spark coming out, but more like a final tickle on the Baron buff damage reduction.
That magic resistance, that increased magic resistance doesn't nearly as much, and they reclaim the gold lead. They want to try and actually take the game. They're going to go ahead and push for it. There will be 4 members of Frontside here. They're just waiting for the silence. He has 10 seconds left. The UEL team comes through. The stretching strikes, pop 2 members into the middle of it. On the back of Elo Daddy trying to strike, getting a lot of damage. The rest of the engagement is delayed. A shutdown of the Irelia. This is exactly the fight the Frontside wanted. They stopped the Zaxby's distraction, did the passive. So a little bit of hubris, a bit of greed coming in from Stevenson may have spelled their doom as they're on the full retreat. They do have the inhibitor in their favor, so we'll even out the way for now. Ocean Drake up is the only thing Frontside can take, but I feel like Stevenson's going to play that one a bit better.
I think Frontside might just be trying to end here. There is 20 seconds till Krelleron is back up. I think it is very risky to go for the end. Instead, there are things in that open bot lane inhib. Much safer to go for that, and with 2 inhibs being down, that makes life so much easier for you.
Well, they have the wave, and they know they're coming. Black Dog gets his ultimate stolen, and Macho immediately used it, trying to zone out, maybe even trying to get in range of that assist, but not able to. Black Dog has the damage. He can try and take this 1v1 if he wants to. It's a 2v1 on the other side, and then a shutdown goes over to Acrylics. They're gonna be able to escape scot-free. They beat the case. They make the race. Oh my goodness. They get out. And now it's just Macho left alone to fight Krelleron, and Axolotl is in Frontside this time. It's bitten off a little bit more than they can chew as Annie comes through trying to find the shields, but it might not matter. A flash for Krelleron means a death for Macho. A prowling projectile from downtown will hit Annie and slow him down long enough to possibly set up a kill. She is able to get away, just barely, run toward this bottom side. Ooh, the sneaky rotation. She won't actually go to the tower. She'll recall because it's just 3v4. And I think that Stevenson wants to try and end this game.
Yeah, this would take it to game number 3. Elo Daddy back up in 5 and Macho not up for another 25. And there are 4 members strong. Black Dog doesn't have to teleport to join, sadly. But this tower falling already.
Almost goes for the deep dive. He can't find Acrylics. Krelleron bouncing back and forth. Dies, but maybe he bought enough time for Acrylics to pump out the damage. Maybe the resurrection coming through for Elo Daddy means he has a second chance. Axolotl could fall to Volta, but all in all, a great bit of damage from Acrylics. A great job at bouncing back and forth to the team. I mean, it's only Macho to try and defend, and he could fall. Can he find a kill? No. More kiting means a quadra kill and an ace for Stevenson. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god, the healing and shielding coming out for an act. So clutch in that team fight. Acrylics put up so much damage. No one on the side of Frontside could really deal with it. And we're now going to game number 3. And you gotta wonder about that draft from Frontside. They drafted that losing bot lane after seeing that there was a Yuumi and Sivir.
I think that they just, I wouldn't even ban the Yuumi. I think that Acrylics has just been playing lights out on this Sivir. You can ban the Yumi if you want and think that's a problem, but he was going off even before they had Matt Cool on that pick. So I think you get rid of the Sivir because in his hands, he's just had a series and he's shown he can stall out the game when they're behind. He can take over games when they're ahead, 11-2-16. Other than that, I think Frontside played it as best they could, even when they gave over so many power picks to Stevenson.
Yeah, and that game was just so back and forth like the previous one. Anyone could have won it, but in the end, Stevenson takes it off the back of Acrylics and Matt Cool.
We're gonna go ahead and go to our quick break. We'll do the dissecting when we get back during picks and bans. We want to start speeding our way into the rest of this series as fast as possible. When we get back, the final conclusion, the hopefully satisfying climax of the series between Stevenson and Frontside Esports. Don't go anywhere. We will return. Welcome back to the ranch, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all that have joined us tonight for an exciting series as we are entering game three. Frontside versus Stevenson, seventh place versus second place. And I don't know how many people would have expected Stevenson to take it this far as we are into picks and bans. And, I swear to everything that is holy, if we don't see a silver ban, we didn't see the silver ban in the first round, I'm going to
Oh,
rage because Acrylics, with or without that Yumi, has just been having an amazing series on that pick.
thing is, Frontside, they might just try and first pick it here
Ooh,
themselves and speak the devil.
okay,
There it is. So that
bless.
was the plan all along here. It does open up the bot lane because Sivir can be abused down there, especially since Frontside banned the Yumi themselves. So that is one of the best supports to go with Sivir off the table. But Sivir isn't the best AD carry or type or best AD carry with Kaisa for no reason. So missing out on that Yumi, certainly not the end of the world, and we'll see what Stevenson decides to respond with here. Ooh, Flux.
Yeah, they're gonna go ahead and steal away that Lux, not let the Sivir Lux combo come through. Um, I think that a Karma can work well. There's a lot of support synergies that Sivir. It's not as strong as the Yumi, granted, but can still work well with, and be perfectly okay. The Hecarim pick coming in for Stevenson, and this is something that we've seen. It's not uncommon, but it certainly seems to be, I don't want to say different than how they played this series. They had the Zac, so maybe this is a little bit more insured engaged. If you can hit that unstoppable onslaught and then use the onslaught of shadows, it's pretty much a given if you can get that combo right in team fights.
Yeah, we will have to see because Hecarim has fallen off a little bit ever since he got those nerfs a little bit, and Conqueror took a slight nerf of its own. But we are going to have the double move speed bot lane with Karma and Sivir, so that's going to be a very safe lane. With the shields, the CC coming out of Karma, well, minor amounts of CC, and just the spell shield and the move speed boots from Sivir. So gonna be hard for Stevenson to really gank that. Hecarim can make it work though if you do the relentless charge into the onslaught of shadows. It is a little bit gimmicky and a little wonky, but hey, Stevenson gonna be grabbing themselves the Saya though.
And I, Stevenson, they played the Zaya game one, or no, not Stevenson. Elo Daddy played it game one, I believe, and
Mhm.
didn't have the best time on it early on, but made it work. And Lux Zaya, it feels like Lux with anything is a very, very strong duo in the bot lane right now in this meta. And talk about slows though, we'll see how this Karma works in because again, she did get a buff on her slow from her Q. So maybe that can slow down Hecarim just enough. Maybe it can provide some avenues of access for this movement speed composition. Looking at these bans, Stevenson finally takes the Silas out of Macho's hands. They ban the Akali, and frontside, they take away that Aurelia because Krelleron, he got punished early, but eventually the Aurelia came online. It was just too much. Just too much.
Yeah, not to mention the Silas ban. Very nice here because we've been seeing how well the Mad Show has been performing on it these past two games. So taking that off the table, removing a comfort pick. Always good, fine, and dandy. We'll see what Stevenson decides to pick up here. Most likely gonna be a flex pick, I want to say, just so they can get a little tricky dicky. No, Cassiopeia. That
Oh.
is technically a flex, but top Cassiopeia not as much of a thing anymore, except for into specific matchups, because machine gun poison fangs can just really ruin some top laners' days. We'll see what Frontside decides to pick up here.
Very much usually a counter pick. You don't usually blind pick the top Cassiopeia. You're right. So it's gonna be interesting because it feels like maybe they saw something in Macho's champion pool and they're taking that away because a good miasma shuts down the Hecarim. I mean that's pretty much the end of any engage you might want. He would have to force it with a onslaught of shadows uh, off the rip to get through that miasma early. The Jack's going to be given over to Volta, I assume. We have seen a mid lane Jax in the LPL, but we've seen a lot of strange things in the LPL. So the blind pick Zac looks to be answered by the Kennen. So the Orianna also rounding out front side's composition. They have a pretty strong team fight. They're laying it all down at the feet of Elo Daddy because if Jax cannot follow up on a shockwave or that combo doesn't work, then Sivir's really their only consistent damage that can be done from a safe mile away, as Jax has to be right in the face of Stevenson. And the Malphite being picked up for that counter engage. So Stevenson going all in. They say, we want to just run right at you. We don't even care what you have. We just want to go. Hit that go button, that R button.
Yeah, a Malphite will do somewhat well into the Jax early on, but as the game goes on longer and longer, it is going to get so hard for the Malphite to deal with the Jax because he just won't have the damage to kill the Jax, and Jax will, of course, just thump, thump, thump him till he drops, even through all the attack speed slows. Because once he gets that Spear Sojin on Jax, oh my god. Jax with Spear Sojin, I'm just going to throw it out there, very obnoxious to deal with. The constant hopping, not to mention very low downtime on the Counter Strike, is so massive on him.
And I wonder if that's going to almost force Axolotl to focus this Malphite in the top lane. Early on, we get Malphite's damage, unless he's going full AP Malphite, does fall off. But early on, Malphite can do quite a bit of damage just spamming those Qs out to poke and harass his enemy laner. But will that force Axel to focus a lot of his time putting down this Jax, meaning that if Elo Daddy and Annie can have a good game, if Mad Show can get ahead in this mid lane again, he uh, really Stevenson's bottom half of the map may have to fend for themselves.
Yeah, they've certainly been able to do it these previous games, but now that they don't have the super safety of a Sivir whatever lane, it is gonna we're gonna have to see how they adapt because Zaya much different compared to Sivir and much less safe, especially if the Featherstorm is down. But also going back to that top lane camp part, it even if you shut down the Jax and get the Malphite massively ahead, it isn't going to get you as much mileage as getting your bot lane ahead because a Malphite with the lead is just more impossible to kill, which no matter how fed or behind you are as a tank, you will always technically do your job because it's mostly to just CC in front line, and any amount of damage absorbed is damage absorbed, technically speaking. But there is potential, especially if the Hecarim is able to get some kills for himself.
Get him to that Trinity Force faster, really shut down this Jax, because eventually Jax will come online, if not as a team fighting force and as a split pusher. So you do have a bit of a timer, and with timer for the late game. Late game, they will run it. You'll have Jax split pushing, applying pressure somewhere. You'll have the Sivir pushing away. You'll have the Orianna and Karma, not only for engage, but disengage if they need it. Rek'Sai there to kind of apply early pressure, almost play that all 3 games this series. And you talk about the Zaya, usually you do see a pair with something with a little bit more disengage, a little bit more safety. Yumi, if we go back to a lot of the Ardent Sensor users, the Nami, something that can basically give her sustain and safety in lane, because once that Featherstorm is gone, she doesn't have flash, then she's pretty much dead to rights unless she can hit a really good blade caller to save her life and stun up some enemies.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Rakan was open this game, so Stevenson could have gone for that 1-2 punch combo of the Lover's bot lane. Granted, Rakan into Sivir is actually a very feels bad man pre-6 because your Grand Entrance only just procs a spell shield and then you get a bunch of damage in return. However, once you hit 6 and have the quickness, it's similar to Alistar combo where the Sivir can only block one portion of the combo. But Lex is a different story, and Rakan has not been picked, so can't dwell on that too much. We'll see how it works out this game.
And I do wonder if it's a question of if that's just not in Matt Cool's wheelhouse. We're not saying he can't play it. Maybe he's just not comfortable with it. Maybe his team just hasn't scrimmed with it a ton. And so it just would be a little bit hard to apply to the rest of their composition. I would have liked to see it, but the Lux is a very fine pick. May not be as mobile as the Rakan, but still can get catches, snares. And if Matt Cool goes for a more bursty, a little bit more damage Lux this game, I can see him contributing a lot more than we did when we saw him the Lux in the first go around of this best of 3 series, whereas we're locking in picks here for the client. And going into game 3, where do you think the mentality is for Stevenson? The first game, I'd be a little bit annoyed because this could have been a 2-0 sweep if they had maybe played the first game a little bit better, maybe not lost as early as they did as far as the lead and given the advantage to that topside 3v3. So, but they have given themselves a chance to get their first win on the board of the season and against the second place team, the team that's only ever lost one map before this series.
Yeah, they certainly have the momentum going in because they are the underdogs coming into this. But a lot of that was off the back of Acrylic's Sivir, so we'll have to see how that changes up this game when he's on the Zaya and not on his infamous or famous Sivir.
And just continue to lock stuff in, going through the motions here in game 3. Finding other lanes to focus on is Cassiopeia. We didn't talk about it too much. We talked about how it could have been a steal to stop, to make sure the Hecarim isn't stopped, but into the Orianna should have pretty good lane priority. But it's another game where you have to beg Krellerond not to fall behind, not to fall prey to almost ganks from the Rek'Sai, because this time you're not on an Aurelia who just scales very well, and if the game goes long enough, can eventually start pumping out damage and doing her job. If he falls behind as a Cassiopeia, all he will be known for, the only reason people will remember his name is because of the miasma and how it might be able to stop this speed him up composition from Frontside.
Yeah, or the Petrifying Gaze if he's able to time that well. Granted, he might die during the windup if he is very far behind, like you said, but hey, never know. As everything is locked in here, looking at summoner spells, nothing too surprising outside of Ignite Orianna, but that could be changed up because there is, of course, a spectator bug where it will swap right as we finish the choose your loadout.
We will have to keep an eye on that. And I know we harped on it in game 1. I'm not really opposed to the Ignite. It was really the Ignite and the phase rush. It was, again, really aggressive, not something we on Oriana, that combination. It really speaks. I want to run you down in lane and find an extra kill pressure, because one of the things that Oriana does have a trouble doing at times is chasing down kills in lane if she has a very good 1v1. And indeed, he didn't. Oh, he did. He switched up its barrier. So it will just be the barrier. So playing it very differently than Krelleron played it in game 1. And looking across the board, the Ignite Smite from Oxalotl, instead of going for what we usually see, is the Ghost. We usually see that Predator Ghost full speed up combo where he just 100 to 0 to 100 wrecks you as soon as he runs into you.
Yeah, although Conquer much more common than Predator nowadays after the changes, but Ignite is very offensive. And without a defensive summoner spell, like even Ghost, that means Almost can really go to town on Axolotl here, especially if he Ignite's down. It really reduces Hecarim's dueling power, and Hecarim is a bit squishy early on. So we'll have to see how Almost pilots this Rek'Sai.
Has to get to that Trinity Force extremely early to be as effective as he wants to be. And a big reason for that Ghost isn't just the escape potential and the engagement potential. It's everything. We usually see the I just said the Conqueror, if you're playing top lane Hecarim, is prevalent, but when you're playing jungle Hecarim, the Predator Ghost, it really allows you to really chase somebody, and you can see the portrait of the map. You can literally go from the top side of any lane river all the way to mid lane off of Predator Ghost devastating charge, just because of how much speed and the damage. So seeing him go for the Ignite, I wonder, why do you think he's gonna? Well, I'll ask you on the back end of the break why he's gonna take that. We gotta go ahead and get you guys to the break so we can get to the game as quick as possible. Before I go, I want to let you guys know about Midwest Esports. They've been around for many, many years, and I can attest to that one. And they started out as a small student group out of Wichita State University, but you know what? Since then, Midwest, they've grown. They have been a veteran organizer for tournaments and events throughout the U.S., and now they host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, as well as Overwatch, and many more. So if you want to participate in their tournaments, if you live over in that area around Wichita, Kansas, or you want to make that travel, go to a land for the first time as a team in a friendly environment, just check out their website for more info, midwestesports.com. But When we return, game 3, Frontside, Stevenson. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the I'll be honest, I'm running out of places for us to come back to that may have been related to southern towns, but regardless, we're in game. Frontside, Stevenson, game 3. Stevenson with a chance to get the upset victory and get their first series win in the Upsurge Contenders League in the Ocean Division. And while we were on break, you know, I was just kind of harping on this Hecarim because I know that the Ignite Teleport Conqueror is something we'll see on the Hecarim top lane, but when you go jungle, it's still usually common practice for you to see the Predator into the Ghost, because no matter what changes were made to Predator, it still gives you that insane amount of extra movement speed to where you can just ram into targets like a semi-truck and set up excellent ganks from almost anywhere on the map from a half a mile away. And I'm just interested to see, is he going to go for early invades on this Hecarim like this? Because if not, I'm a little perplexed on how this one's going to work out.
So basically, as far as I know, the Conqueror's taken on Hecarims because he can stack it up very quickly, auto into a W proc, and also he benefits immensely just from all the dumb healing you get off of it, and the true damage is rather nice too. Ignite, I do also disagree with, though, because into the Rek'Sai matchup, I'd assume you're kind of vulnerable into that very early on, and just having a Ignite instead of something like Ghost is gonna be a bit of a yikers. We'll see how it works out for Axel, however.
Well, maybe he's reverse psychologing us. Maybe he's saying, I'm expecting almost to invade. I'm expecting to be aggressive. I'm gonna try and be there to counter gank, and I'll have the Conqueror for the fight and the Ignite to back up the damage. So we'll have to see how he plays this one out. It'll be interesting to say at least if he takes a Hecarim and doesn't play it offensively as we're used to, just plays it more defensively to set up his laners and make sure they don't get harassed by almost. He's been in this mid lane and the top lane, but mainly the mid lane first every single game, and just making Krelleron's life a living hell. We're already seeing that poke damage from Black Dog come out. the Malphite just, it literally, you know, you try and aggress, and then he just takes the damage and he throws a seismic shard at you because he knows he's going to have that passive shield. So it doesn't really even matter.
Yeah. Granted, after the first back or two here, Volta's going to have a much easier time since Malphite not going to be building full AP. The Comet certainly helps compared to the Grasp when dying just for these early trades. Grasp, nice for the little bit of sustain, and it does give you a pinch of extra health, but I figure you really want to mow down this Jax. But here comes Axolotl.
That's going to be the kill, and he gets first blood, so we harped on this Hecarim the entire early game, but there you go. He sees the aggression from Volta, he sets it up perfectly, and as soon as the Jax jumps in, it's like, congratulations, you played yourself. And the Conqueror plus, he didn't even drop the Ignite for that one, gets the kill, and now they can look for the Scuttle Crab, and with all this power, there's not much that they can try and do to challenge this one. The Smite comes through, takes the Scuttle Crab, and Axolotl already off to a great start on the Revenant Horseman.
Yeah, and Hecarim is a champion that snowballs really insanely with gold and levels, and getting first blood, that kind of fulfills both check boxes there. It gives you gold and EXP, very appreciated, because Hecarim is very level dependent on damage. Oh, gank in top lane.
He still does have flash, he used it preemptively, so good job to dodge out of that gank from Almost. Isn't able to get the Rupture knock up, but now they can possibly look to come back to this lane, and with no flash, they'll probably have to use teleports to get back. This could set him up for easy pickings for Volta. He might not even need a gank on this Jax. It'll be up to Axolotl to make sure he isn't taken out as in the mid lane. Miasma doesn't land. Macho taken down to half. Preleron, though, good bit of damage on him as well. So in the mid lane, it's being evenly matched. On the bottom side, though, for the first time, not on the Sivir, Acrylics, or I'll say, I worded that the wrong way because they had, I think, a CS advantage in the second game. What I'm trying to say is that 12 CS up, Acrylics looking really, really good in this bottom lane 2v2.
Yep, looking good indeed. And interesting build coming out from Black Dog 9 in this top lane, actually. It looks like he's building Tear the Goddess, but I think that Fairy Charm is just there for the mana regen. Granted, a Tear the Goddess into stairs would be kind of meaning, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd hope and I'd think that he's not going for anything like that. What could he even, I mean, yeah, I don't even think he doesn't have anything to build out of that.
Oh, Axolotl
comes through, but again, just not enough damage on the charge, and that's why you have the I'm gonna keep harping on it, even though he got the first blood. It's just like, that's why you have that, because you give him a half health, maybe you set up a good light binding into the Acrylic's Blade Caller and they get a kill. You just want to apply some pressure overall, as the Infernal Drake will be the first Drake on the board, making sure that they have the push, so maybe they can set up to take that one first. I know he'll appreciate that, Cassiopeia will appreciate that, hell, even Acrylics will appreciate that himself, and so good overall map awareness and rotations from Axolotl.
Good indeed, as we go back to top lane thanks to directed camera. Big trade coming out.
He has to be careful. Ooh, he tried to get the clap, but the shard was able to proc. So before he could flash out, he did activate the spell. So that'll be a 1-for-1 trade in the top. And that will prompt Axolotl to charge in the mid lane. He doesn't find the devastating charge. He just runs through and hits the minion wave. But I think, who do you think comes out on the better end of that trade? The Malphite or the Jax? Because they didn't even credit Jax with that kill. He's 0-2-1. Has his Sheen, but the Malphite already has the Glacial Shroud and is in a great position because, like you said, he has the mana regen. Dark Seal has 2 stacks on it as well, which is interesting because, oh, he kept the 2 stacks from the previous kill. There's Elo Daddy going extremely low but doesn't fall. So this Malphite may be in a really good spot in this lane, really comfortable.
Yeah, Matt Cool not pulling the trigger on the Ignite in that bot lane trade to cost him that kill. It will at least force it back, so more CS advantage and Tara's Blade advantage is ahoy. But trading your flash, maybe not worth it. It also guarantees a very free back here for Acrylics. Super low on mana. Trade in top lane, but here's
Oh, the stun, but it doesn't matter because the Malphite is able to use the unstoppable force just at level 6 and they clean up Volta. So again, Oxlo just takes advantage of the aggression from the Jax, but almost able to find Krelleron in the mid lane, cleans up the kill. There should be a tower plate for Mad Show. He's gonna recall and not rotate over toward that Dragon Pit, but a good answer from Frontside early, getting the Orianna ahead. Volta, he just has to be a little bit more careful on his top side. That's the second time he's been punished alone for trying to jump on top of a Malphite that, I mean, it just takes such a long time to kill him.
Yeah, especially with the lead that this Malphite secured here for a Black Dog. He's certainly enjoying that compared to the previous 2 games where he didn't exactly have the best time, especially last game where he is 1 in 11, I want to say, at some point on Aatrox.
Yeah, he was 2 and 11. I think he ended up like 3-12, 4-12, something like that. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. And maybe this was the answer. Just put Black Dog on something where he doesn't have to play aggressive, can just set up Oxalotl for these kills, because Volta's just going to keep jumping at you. Doesn't matter how far he feels he's behind. He's just going to keep being aggressive. So just set someone else up for success. And use be that tank and engage tool that Malphite is just so great at being when it comes to team fights around objectives. And again, Volta just going to jump in. He knows one-on-one he can win this. It's just when Oxalotl joins up, it's near impossible. But both teams starting to posture around that Dragon Pit, especially the Hecarim, taking that Scuttle, placing down the Vision. He's going to rotate and hover around this bottom lane, and he knows he's there. They're just taking away the wards and starting to set up a little bit, but almost is going to catch Krelleron on the rotation, get the burst damage with the Conqueror. Not the Halo Blades, but still doesn't enough with that Warrior's enchantment to get the kill. Smart play, catching Cassiopeia on the rotation with that Dragon Pit. Now they're going to try and contest with this blue buff. Oxalotl has to be careful. He's going to be able to secure that, but the Shockwave and a knockup, the Onslaught of Shadows won't be enough to get him out in time. And that's going to be another kill in the top lane. Killing spree for Black Dog is able to get the full rotation. Just that Sunfire Cape doing so much passive damage. However, the Infernal Drake should be claimed by Frontside Esports.
Yeah, and there's now a 4-0 Rek'Sai for Almost. He's been playing Rek'Sai this entire series and has been having good games the entire time. Final Spark comes out, but a big fat whiff on that one. Doesn't hit anything. As advantage goes over to Frontside in terms of that trade.
Score is 4-4, all even. Very, very negligible lead in favor of Stevenson. As you said before, all the kill gold, all the bounty on this Rek'Sai. He's been having a pick, didn't get banned out, has been doing his best to make it effective. Volta really, really feeling the pain from Black Dog. 6 stacks on this Dark Seal means that he doesn't even need to build a ton of damage to really, really hurt Volta. And he can even look for a dive. He has the ultimate available.
But here comes Almost.
Could be the bait. Black Dog trying to bait him in. They want to do it, but he's going to flash out. He doesn't take it. It's a great job by Black Dog recognizing the position he was in and playing back. Didn't even have wards in that bush. Just decide, hey, I know that he wants to aggress on me. I know I'm pushed up. I have a way out. I just don't need to use it too early, and he's able to get out of dodge clean.
Yep. And bot lane, there is now 2 tower plates taken alongside a 35 CS lead for Acrylics and Maccool here. Kind of insane. Oh, Maccool. I need a Boomerang Blade. Cancels the recall. Gonna kind of suck, but there's now an Essence Reaver finish for Acrylics compared to just IE components for Ela Day. It's gonna be pretty huge. Krelleron has to use the Petrifying Gaze.
Perfect timing.
If there's one thing synonymous with this series, it's Almost ganking mid and Krelleron kind of dying a lot from ganks.
Yeah, I mean, just really great timing. I'll say because Almost didn't have the flash to get in, but regardless, he had the movement speed to catch up with Krelleron. Because, again, snakes can't wear boots, so he's not the fastest of snakes really, really, really early. So, really good job, but that means that's a teamfight ultimate down. Rift Herald is on the board. They can try and pressure that. The next Drake will be up in 3 minutes. It will be an Ocean Drake. So we'll have to see how they decide to play around that. Just seems this entire series, Frontside has been willing to play and fight around these neutral objectives. besides almost really just carving out advantages for his team by himself, besides that one rotation to the top lane with Mad Show in game 1 where they went top with Rift Herald, it's really been almost ganking lanes in 2v1 scenarios, and then they play around the Dragon Pit, the Baron Pit to make something happen. And Volta gonna get aggressed on by Oxalotl. This will probably be another kill towards Black Dog. He really has no way out with the Ignite. He tries to jump to the ward, but it won't help. It's to no avail. And now Black Dog 4-1-1. Finally a game where he's playing well, where he's getting some love, more specifically to say. Has the Frozen Heart, has the Bomby Cinder. Oxalotl might get sold out here. Oh my god, that long road home back down to the shadows. He will still get the kill, but can almost escape this Malphite is the question. He has help on the top side. Elo Daddy is going to fall to Acrylics after a great final spark. Almost able to flash over the wall. Came back up in time, but that means that Macho will have to sacrifice his life on the back of the barrier. The exhaust is there. No, they actually duo up to try and turn around this kill. They will get back to Cassiopeia. Can they escape Black Dog? They will be able to because the shield will still be there from the ball. So a great turnaround from Frontside, but look at their bottom side of the map. The tower is slowly being burned down. That will be first blood turret to Stevenson on the back of this dominant duo lane that has been destroying Elo Daddy and Annie.
Yeah, and there's such a massive gold lead in his bot lane. 1,700 gold between the two 80 carries and about 700 between the supports. If you look at Elo Daddy's build, he's going for a weird gimmicky build. He went the BF Sword into pickaxe like he's rushing the IE, but instead he takes a detour to get the call fields. Looks like he just wants to match the wave clear coming out from Acrylics, and is this another soul? It is, and
people forget that Malphite scales very well naturally with AP. Like, he's not like one of those tanks in the top lane that quote-unquote scales with AP, but it's only if you buy 2 or 3 AP items to really get it online. No, he has a 10-stack Dark Seal, Frozen Heart, working on that, what will probably be a Sunfire Cape later. He does a lot of damage naturally on his own without needing a bunch of extra help, and this is going to be another turret in the side lane for Stevenson. Volta 0-6-1, just really tunnel visioning and being too over aggressive. This is going to set up a Drake as well. Elo Daddy even has to flash out of the pit to escape. With no teleport advantage or even teleport evening, they just got to get this one up.
Yeah, and another crucial thing, going back to those top lane trades, is that Malphite also has very high base damages thanks to being a tank. His scaling with AP is okay, but he benefits the most from base damages and penetration. When you have 2 levels on Volta and a fully maxed out Q, I believe. Keep max the size. Yep, it is a seismic shard max. So he puts out a lot of damage, and the extra levels of stats really help push him. Not to mention being 5-1, that also helps a little. Usually does.
Yeah, he got that attention. We asked the question before the game started: will Oxalotl be compelled to come top lane and give attention to Black Dog more than he did in the previous game? And the question is, yes. He's been up there more times than he's been in any other lane. It's paid dividends because now Volta's on the back foot. They're gonna be able to claim this Rift Hero just based off of good rotations. But I mean, he's not even close to his Trinity Forces building, and he won't get there, excuse me, anytime soon. So Stevenson doing a very, very good job. And I want to go back to that 80 carry conversation we were having before those fights happened, because you mentioned the Call to the Hammer. I think unless the build path for Essence Reaver changed, I think he just pivoted toward building an Essence Reaver instead of going for that IE, and he just decided to completely turn it around. As Krelleron wants to try and find a kill on the Elo Daddy, but he doesn't have him turned toward him, so the Petrifying Gaze will only slow, and he does still have the Spell Shield to make sure he can get out alive.
Yeah, and I believe that build pivot was just because so he could get the Essence Reaver and match the wave coming out of the Eclipse right now. Since he doesn't have the Ocean, so he can't freely spam. Swing by mid, say howdy ho. He is rocking the Shamrock Malphite skin, or as I like to call the nipple clover, because there is a clover on the teat.
I had a joke to go with that, but yours was funnier, so I'll hold on to it. I'll hold on to it for later. But looking at the game state, 17 minutes in, 6-7, 3,000 gold lead for Stevenson. And we've seen this song and dance before, but even though they fell behind after having a goal lead last game, they were able to bring it back and get the win. But Krelleron has to be very careful. I had to Petrifying Gaze and Sun's up too, but I don't think he'll be able to find a kill on the back end of it. He wants to try and turn it around on Elo Daddy, but Elo Daddy just baits him back in so that the Rek'Sai can finish it off. Ooh, a shockwave from Macho catches two, but he doesn't have any damage to follow up because it's only a Karma. Maybe if he had the Jax, the Rek'Sai, even the Sivir there, they can clean up those kills, but it just shows Macho, despite the Jax being behind, he is still perfectly in a fine spot and can really contribute to these fights later on around objectives. Black Dog and Axolotl trying to find a target. Without that Ghost, without that Predator, not able to find anything. Oh, wow, a flash into the unstoppable force means that Black Dog said, I'm getting something. We getting something. And I'm just going to say it. We've all been waiting for it. He is giving Frontside Esports the clap this game.
Yeah, question is, was committing flash and an ultimate worth it for a kill on support? Maybe not. Definitely does look cool at least, and it is gonna help him and Acrylics get this mid lane tower. Not sure if the kill is necessary for that, but hey, all's fair in love and war, I guess.
Gonna, secure more gold, more advantage, and just make sure that there is no karma to bolster a tower defense. So, and I think his cooldown on the ultimate is extremely low right now as well. So it's only a little bit over a minute, and it's already almost back up. So he really doesn't, it's gonna be back up by the next team fight. Riptailed pop from Frontside. They want to get some turret damage down, and honestly, Stevenson didn't do a very good job of getting damage down before was able to collapse with an exhaust. Krelleron means he should be able to chase down. Oh, a great heal. And the spell skill to make sure he survives the last one bang, so he'll be able to escape alive. His splash should be coming up for the next team fight as well. Krelleron coming so close to that solo kill he's been wanting this entire series. 0-4-0, another game where he's just been bullied and put behind. At least this time his team is behind him. And another unstoppable force in top lane. We said the cooldown was low, and he should be able to find a kill on the Volta. There's not much fancy feat he can do to get out of this one. Or farm before he falls to the Malphite again.
Yep, Sunfire Cape finishing the kill there, I believe. There's now finally a Triforce finish for Volt here, but is it a case of too little too late, as he is 3,000 gold behind his lane opponent? And Black Dog has enough to finish his Sunfire Cape and then some here when he backs out.
He just finished it, and he still has 1,000 gold to spare, so he's actually going to buy that Catalyst of Aeon. So, I mean, that could build to a plethora of things. That could go into Righteous Glory. I mean, he could go for a Rod of Ages if he wants to go more AP. I feel like the Righteous Glory to set the team fight might be what he wants, but the question is, who knows? That'll be up to him. And I think Aeon's builds in the Righteous Glory. Am I right, or is it another?
I believe it's the Abyssal.
The Abyssal Mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it will give him some much needed magic resist to tank the Macho's ultimates here. Not to mention Volta puts out a fair amount of magic damage on his own, and the aura will buff basically all of Malphite's damage, since all he does is output magic damage. And of course Sunfire is magic damage too, so that's always nice.
It makes a lot of sense. I'll always admit when I'm wrong, and there's a on the back of my neck that was like, I don't think that Aeon builds in the Righteous Glory, but you can finish that sentence if you want to. But regardless, it looks like Stevenson's going to go ahead and finish this Baron really, really early. There won't be enough room for Almost to steal it. He's at 3,000. He wants to get in the back of the pit. And Stevenson will actually peel away from this one, knowing how precarious their position is. That ball placement from Mad Show potentially stopping him from doing this, because even with the unstoppable force, a great 3-man shockwave means that no one else can follow up on Black Dog's damage. So they did buy a lot of time for Krelleron to put some pressure on his bottom side of the map, but with teleport on Volta, it doesn't really mean much. They're gonna just try and push this mid lane wave. Good job by Frontside, not getting baited into a fight, but also defending that Baron pit.
Yeah, and the good news is for the side of Stevenson here is that with the double ocean, they are able to regenerate fairly quickly after that attempted Baron take. Regenerating what? Oh god, what is it at? 10% missing health and, or no, 9%ish? missing health and mana. That is quite nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really good because you can just hop on and off of those objectives. It could be triple Ocean Drake. It will be the next one up for us in 3 minutes. So that'll be 12%. And that means they can pretty much start and stop objectives that will bait things out, go fight, bait out ultimates, and as long as they escape, they can just restart it. And that includes sieges as well. They have a pretty decent siege composition. Anyone gets too close to a turret and they get destroyed by the Malphite Unstoppable Force. So they're going to go ahead and start up this Baron one more time. 4 members are here to answer back. Volta will start the recall to prepare for the teleport. I really think they're just trying to bait out this TP from Volta, but he's really not having it. And this is going to sound weird, but the fact that he has so much damage being put into him by the Cassiopeia means he has the recall anyways. So it's not like a do or die, I'm full of health, so I'm going to pull the trigger. It's, well, I have to recall first anyways, so we see how this plays out. So they just keep going back and forth, juggling it, trying to make sure that they have TP advantage, and it's not working just yet. But maybe with vision advantage, they can get something going.
Oh, God, that is 70% of Matt's health down. Oof.
Okay.
Well, he's going to be thankful for the double ocean here and some honey fruit.
Gotta be really, really careful. I'm surprised that Macho didn't pull the trigger. Matt Cool did have the flash though, so we've been able to try and dodge out of the shockwave. If it, with the reaction time, those, fast reflex muscles. Will now be a 3-2 split. The Malphite kind of roaming around, trying to establish vision on the bottom side, maybe looking for a combo gank with the Cassiopeia, but decides to rotate back to that mid lane. They're gonna send their bottom lane to the top side to push a turret, and it looks like they're just gonna stop trying to pressure the Baron for now. Push the waves, get some extra gold, complete items, and get back at it. Is looking at items. Cassiopeia has the evolved Ceres Embrace, has that Crystal Scepter. Possibly could look for a Morella Nomicon, maybe some extra damage. Who knows if she wants to burn. Everywhere else, this Xayah is doing pretty well for herself. You have to keep an eye on Volta though, because despite being 0-7-1, I mean, we've seen his counterpart do it the last game. Once he gets this next item, especially if he gets that Spear of Sojin, he can really become a problem for Stevenson.
Yeah, and when you have a 7-1 Malphite, you kind of want to be pulling the trigger here with that unstoppable force, and that hasn't quite happened yet. We have another Ocean Dragon spawning here in 20 seconds, so this is most likely just going to be given up by Frontside here, since they don't want to contest that too hard. It would be nice to have, especially with how split pushy this game is going to be with how far behind Volta is.
I can understand giving it up. If they had like a double mountain with a double ocean, or even a mountain with those double oceans, and this was like giving them 9%, then that's a little bit something you might have to contest, because they can literally start burning Baron faster, pop off, and keep doing the juggle, but it's just even more potent, even more dangerous than it is right now. That'll be triple Ocean Drake going in favor of Stevenson. Next one will be that Mountain Drake, so that one maybe Frontside decides to contest, but for now they're just gonna keep contesting waves, keep pushing out. They really just have to wait until the Jax gets online, so Elo Daddy can get online and start pumping out that AoE damage. Macho's already there, but he just really needs the rest of the team to catch up.
I'll have to see. Oh, lordy, a little bit of a burp there, but it's only a 4k gold difference, and nothing much has really happened since Baron has spawned. You don't want to only get an Ocean Dragon with how far ahead you are, but it looks like Frontside just playing footsies and not really taking any of these baits here. Almost is looking. He still has a 7-0 bounties worth of money on him, so quite a bit of cha-ching if he manages to die. There's now a 3-item Xayah for Acrylics. He has 300 CS of 27 minutes, rather fantastic. Black Dog hanging around bot lane. Could be a bit of a PvP here.
They have sent Annie and Elo Daddy to support Volta. He's just getting shredded by Krelleron, just getting whittled down slowly but surely, like the wick of a candle. He does have the support, and he is able to clear the waves. The question is, how long can he hold this? I think the real question is, no, not the question, but the problem is for Stevenson is they don't have the vision control they would like. They have it around the Baron pit, but they don't have a lot of deep wards. to really see Frontside coming. And it just seems a bit skittish because you think with the lead that they have, they could place down some deeper wards, get it to, that third level around the wolf camp of Frontside, maybe a little bit deeper as Frontside goes for a gank, and this should really, really be a dead die. But oh, a great flash! The barrier saves the Oriana's life. It will be Black Dog using that unstoppable force, a little bit of overkill maybe, almost. Will have the tunnel to try and escape, but he should be picked up here any second. Goes back in for a knockup. But that would be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Stevenson, and with only the Sivir, the Karma, and the Jax available, they could look for this Baron, and I think that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because you don't have your main DPS on Baron, the Xayah. Cassiopeia certainly does put out for damage. There's the final spark, gonna be tickling Annie. And
Krelleron wants to finish off this kill. At the very least, he's applied enough pressure to make sure they don't come near the Baron pit. The tether will be there. His job is done. Even if he falls, that'll be 4 members with Baron on them as the side does spawn. But yeah, it's only at 2,000. They're approaching the pit. Could this be the steal they're looking for? They have time. There's a smite available, and the smite will be there to secure. So Oxwell is saying, you're not going to steal this one today. There won't be any 5-finger discounts in my store. You're going to have to get out and pay the full price, or you got a shotgun to the face in the form of some man horse needs. And now they're going to back 4 Baron buffs, and if they play this right, they are putting themselves in a great position to take this series. Elodie does have that wave clear, though. So him and Macho will be on wave patrol, and they can start the game. We could have another 50-minute game on our hands if Stevenson isn't careful.
yeah, we'll have to see. But Baron is just what the doctor ordered for cracking this game open, as they can now focus on a 1-4-0 or even just a 5-man mid. Black Dog, he doesn't have the teleport, but he does have unstoppable force. Might as well just go mid and look aggressive on this 8-1 Malphite, who now has a Magi Soul Stealer.
Yeah. They gotta be careful of that damage, because they output as soon as we bring it up, he's like, okay, hey, I'll showcase it for you on this unsuspecting Karma. His own rotation got her to a quarter health, and then I believe they gave that kill over to the Xayah, I want to say, so he just finished it off. Now they're going to go ahead and push this tier 1. Tier 2.
Look at Unstoppable Forces. It's nearly half off. It is at a 48-second cooldown.
Fun time.
Yeah, one more wave when the next wave comes, Black Dog can drop that again.
And they'll have the Petrifying Gaze with that. They won't even need the Onslaught of Shadows. They'll have enough for a team fight secure. And so Frontside had to be very careful. Volta still, I mean, he got a team out, but now I think he's going to go ahead and divert to maybe a Gaze. And there it is. Yep. Of course, gets Oriana. He's on Legendary. Featherstorm will follow through. They tried to find something on the back of an engage from Volta, but he gets cleaned up. And this may be game. It's 3v5. They still have the Petrifying Gaze. The Onslaught of Shadows will be up very, very soon. They could just look to end it here. Elodie will be here with the ricochet damage, trying to find anything he can. Almost. Can he find the stream engage? The question. They find Krelleron, but it won't be enough. There's going to be one more member left. It will be Elodie, and that's going to be it. That's going to be Stevenson with only 14 seconds left on Macho. They're going to be the ones to take the series and upset Frontside and find their first series win of the year.
Yeah, from 0-3 to 1-3 against an undefeated team. That is pretty impressive. And MVP's got to go to Acrylics and Matt Cool for really helping their team stay in games 1 and 2. Still performed pretty well in game number 3.
If series MVP for sure is the bot lane. They performed consistently and exceedingly. I think game 3, you have to give it a little bit to Black Dog just because he finally was able to have himself a game. Him and Krelleron the entire series. But they finally put Black Dog onto something that he's comfortable on, something they could exploit, and they, above all means, use Axolotl's Ignite and Conqueror to basically exploit the fact that Volta was going to play so aggressive and just continue to go to the top lane. And if you're Frontside, how do you evaluate this loss? You're now a definitive second place. Before this loss, they were vying with with I had the document. They're vying with someone else for the first place slot in the Ocean Division. And hopefully someone can look it up and at least let chat know, if not let me know before the end of the stream. But now they are a definitive second place after losing this series. And you just have to feel really, really bad right now. I mean, nothing else to say.
Yeah, their bot lane was their biggest weakness, and it got exploited so hard. Games 1 and 2, and also game number 3. And I don't know, if I'm Frontside, I'm gonna be going back to the board and just trying to prep our bot lane harder, because
They did not have a fun time at all, but that's going to wrap it up tonight for us. Thank you, everyone, for coming to watch and staying till 11 p.m. at least Eastern Standard Time to watch this series. As Stevenson, they're all going out for steak dinners or Korean barbecue or whatever the kids do these days to go out and celebrate by themselves, unless they all live in the same place in the same city. And then, well, it's university, so they might all still be on campus and can all go out and celebrate together for getting their first win and in emphatic fashion in games 2 and 3. That's going to be it for us. This has been Culture and Go for Eno signing out. We'll see y'all around the bend.